from New York, where the annual United Nations General Assembly Summit is holding. But first, here's my take for today. Two issues: the president's absence here at the UN and the generals meeting in Minna. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not attending the United Nations General Assembly this year. Instead, he's focused on the challenges at home, and that's a good thing. But his absence here created a bit of a challenge for Nigerian diplomats at the country's permanent mission to the United Nations. They are concerned that since Nigeria is now being represented by the vice president, the normal protocol will mean all the more than 70 presidents as heads of state who are attending the meeting physically will have to speak before our vice president. And so that way it was feared that Nigeria may lose the day one prominent slot that it already got on the assumption that Mr. President will attend. Now, trying to get clarity, I raised that question at the UN press briefing on Monday.
So on the list of the speakers, if a country was meant to be represented by the president and then it changed to become the vice president, does that affect the slot that they get?
Look, the Secretary General, I think, has been very clear on the fact that there is no African representation on the Security Council, and that is a blind spot, so to speak, that has impacted the work of the Security Council, the legitimacy of the Security Council. And that's why I think he's very pleased with the language that was adopted in the Pact for the Future, which specifically talks about the historical absence of Africa on the Security Council. On the issue of veto, I think those are discussions that will be have to have within member states.
At the end of the day, we must give kudos to the Nigerian diplomats at the permanent mission here at the UN, because they pulled off a great thing. They managed to keep the prominent day one speaking slot for Nigeria. And these are career diplomats that got this done. Maybe that will encourage President Tinubu to appoint more career diplomats into substantive ambassadorial positions in our embassies across the world. And in fact, maybe this will encourage him to fill the empty ambassadorial positions in virtually all of our missions abroad. Now, back home to the issue of the three generals that met in Minna: General Obasanjo, General Babangida, and General Abdulsalami. There have been insinuations about the purpose of their meeting, which was clearly about the hardship in the land. And so we commend their patriotism. However, short of General Abdulsalami, the other generals in this Minna meeting did not attend the Council of State meeting, which President Bola Ahmed Tinubu convened not too long ago. And there was no public disclosure as to why they were absent. At that meeting, there was a dramatically announced vote of confidence in support of the president. Wouldn't it have been better for all the generals, as the former head of state who have attended such a meeting, and make their views known at the Council of State meeting, which is a statutory forum which has some measures of accountability to the public, than this their coded gathering in Minna, with its real purpose and deliberations completely shrouded in secrecy? It is this lack of accountability and disdain for transparency that defined military dictatorship, from which Nigeria suffered for quite too long. But that's in the past, we thank God. So let us appeal to our retired generals to conduct their public roles as statesmen in a more open and accountable way than this overly encrypted gathering that leaves everyone guessing and that is capable of inducing some political temperature that we don't need. For instance, after the Minna meeting, there were no communiques, and this led to insinuations in the press and speculations that the generals met to find a way to get rid of the incumbents, possibly at the polls.
If you have a 700 plus credit score, you qualify for Chase's new program where you could access up to $150,000 of capital for free at 0% interest rates to fund any business or investment that you want, all in the next 30 days. Chase's new program allows you to access up to $150,000 of free capital for your businesses and investments without needing any tax returns, bank statements, or pay stubs, and it doesn't require an upfront payment either. If that sounds interesting to you, I create a full case study analysis on this new program that Chase is offering and how not only you can access up to $150,000 for free from Chase, but how you can do this with.
Soon after the meeting in Mina, a statement was made by General Abdulsalami referencing the hardship in the land. And we should listen to what the president had to say, apparently in response. The President Tinubu, spoke at a meeting with some former presiding officers of the National Assembly, led by Senator Ken Nnamani. This is what he said. He said, yes, there is hardship, but how did we get here? What did we do when we had very high crude production? We neglected our communities. We neglected the goose that lays the golden eggs. We forgot even to give them a good standard of living. The president continues, and I quote, we forgot to educate our children. Go around and look at dilapidated schools. The education environment must be decent enough for pupils who want to learn. He continues, we can complain from now till eternity that the school enrollment is low, but did we do anything to encourage the enrollment process? We must ask ourselves because it's a matter of conscience. Unquote. If the president was responding to the three generals, we agree entirely with him. A lot of the responsibility for Nigeria's retrogression since after independence must be traced back to military rulers. So all these side attacks by the military head of state on the incumbent president regarding the problems that have been long-standing is unnecessary. What we need to do is to have all hands on deck, and our past generals should conduct themselves more in line and in tune with democratic traditions. And why leave out former General Gowon and General Buhari, by the way, from the Mina meeting? I'm just asking for a friend. Finally, the country is hard. The people are reeling under the wheels of corruption and bad governance in many areas of our national life. It's a long-standing problem, but it won't be solved by anything short of a concerted effort by our leaders from all across board, working together and in tandem, not by any kind of isolationist tactics with its poor political undertones. And there you have it. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue the conversation on the future of the country, my host is a Nigerian that has a clearly unique perspective about the fate and the future of this country. I'd like to welcome back to Inside Sources.
If you're thinking of selling your home soon, you don't want to miss out on this. Not only will I buy your house fast, but I can also pay your next month's rent, mortgage, or cover your moving costs. Our team will buy your home as is in any condition, no matter the price range. You can leave anything behind and you don't have to clean up or fix anything. I want to give you a free offer for your home in just a few minutes. Visit sellfast.com by clicking the blue button under my video right now. Answer a few simple questions about your home and request your free offer today. We'll make this process so easy for you. We'll buy your house as is, meaning there's no need to fix or.
Mr. Dele Farotimi. Mr. Dele, you are welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much, Agbalaolu. It's a pleasure to be with you.
And, Mr. Farotimi doesn't need a lot of introduction, but I was joking with him that you can actually introduce him as a retired lawyer,
Oh, yeah. You'll be very correct to say that.
All right. So I want to start this conversation around the question of judicial reform and judicial ethics. Now, I think many Nigerians, especially people in the legal profession, and many of us who are also involved in public life, we have a clear understanding that there has to be quite a bit of reform generally in our society, but especially the judiciary. So I want to start from your own perspective. You have practiced law certainly for more than 2 decades before you opted, I guess, to be a private citizen doing something else. What are the major reforms that you think ought to take place in our judiciary?
Well, we are as a people quite fond of doing what Yorubas would call amanfie tesile palapalapa. We ignore the leprosy and embark on ringworm curing exercises. It is not arguable that the Nigerian judiciary is in serious need, very urgent need of a turnaround. But when you look at it almost like it is only our judiciary, and by curing that problem, we would have resolved each and every one of our problems, it would be rather simplistic for anyone to make such pronouncements. But it is critical that the foundation of any state, which is the rule of law, must be strengthened by ensuring that fit and proper persons are the ones to be found in the judicial system. That would, of course, demand that the entire process of appointment and selection of judicial officers must be revisited. It cannot continue to be a place for prebendal expression of power and largesse. It cannot be a place where, because you are the CJ, your sons and daughter-in-laws, cousins, uncle, goats, qualified or not qualified, all of a sudden becomes qualified.
Hi, this is Jake from
For judicial appointment. It cannot be a place that where you reward people who have been loyal to you, regardless of whether their loyalty is backed by patriotism to the country itself. It cannot just be a reward for the good old boys and girls who have served the system, which is what it has essentially been reduced to. And when you look at the end product, which should be the dispensation of justice, and you see that there is little or no justice available to anyone within the country, not even the rich and mighty and powerful any longer, because what you now find are cacophonies of noises issuing forth from different courts, sometimes of coordinate jurisdiction saying different things. Look at the Kano situation, for instance. It says a lot about what has happened to us. When is a poor man who is in need of urgent judicial relief, you won't hear a thing. Nobody is offering anything. He might be there for the next 5 years without his case ever seeing the light of day. But look at how many injunctions fly all over the place. One is the high and mighty, the powerful and the rich that are involved, even when it's their petty squabbles. But so when we're talking about judicial reform, we must understand clearly that the judiciary is but one out of the many aspects of our country that has more or less collapsed. It's only reflective of everything else. It's reflective of our educational system. It's reflective of everything about our country has come to the critical point where we must look at it honestly and stop lying to ourselves about giant of Africa and all the many lies that we tell ourselves to cover the truth of the destruction, wanton destruction of our country by those who have claimed to rule it. So yes, we need urgent judicial reforms, but it goes beyond just looking at the judiciary. It's easier to despair when we look at our case, but yes, the judiciary needs urgent reform. It's not just about the human resource, even structural. There are urgent needs for serious structural reform in the judiciary. There is need to fund it properly. There is need to be deliberate about dispensing justice and not just appearing to be paying lip service to. How do you explain the way it is? Look at the number of people awaiting trials in our courts, and we claim to have a judicial system. It's a disgrace.
So I wanted to also, in breaking it down, I see two issues essentially, when we're talking about judicial reforms. Of course, we're looking at the rules, what the regulations are, the laws, as it were. Are there some of them that needed to change, And then there's also the issue of ethics, which is how those laws, those regulations, those rules are applied, misapplied, used, or abused. So I wanted to ask you, Bradley, in your own view, which is the more compelling problem of the judiciary? Is it about the rules that needs to change, the regulations, or the ethical question?
Look, Yorubas will say, Onlamukun, ẹ̀rù ẹ wọ́, olórí lẹ̀ ń wò ẹ wò sàlẹ̀. So you say to the crippled man with the load on his head, oh, your load is lopsided. And he responds, you will call it lopsided because you're focused on the load on my head without looking at the crookedness of my feet. Let's be clear about something. There are sufficient rules in our books that should have stopped the retired Chief Justice of Nigeria from appointing members of his families as judicial officers. The Judicial Code of Conduct was sufficient, and you wouldn't ever have heard of any such thing before Nigeria began its speedy descent into the abyss of impunity. So when you hear me saying that corruption is not our problem in Nigeria, it is impunity, I will link it to the issue of whether it's about ethics or whether it's about a paucity of laws. We have enough laws in our books. We have enough rules in our books that should prevent the egregious abuses that we see on a daily basis that has debased our judicial system and rendered it completely unfit for purpose. There are more than enough laws and rules. So this is not about the paucity of written guidance on what should be done or not done by persons within the system. It is about a complete disregard for law. We don't even pretend that the laws matter any longer. Corruption is when the system says something should be done in a particular order or form, and then somebody is giving undue pecuniary benefit, and they then circumvent the system by speeding it up or doing something, maybe find somebody who shouldn't qualify. That is corruption. But when you see a situation where people simply walk to the answer without caring anything for the process, that is what has happened to us. The same way they do wuru to the answer in answering university exam questions, promoting people within the system, it is the same thing they are doing in the judiciary. So even in judicial pronouncements now, you now see ever more ridiculous, obscene, and silly pronouncements issuing forth because there are simply no longer any regard have or had to common sense, what should be. Look, we have departed from the path of sense. That is why you have so many abominations flying up and down the place. It's about who has the power. Once they have the power, they don't care about consequence. They care nothing about it. So this is no longer, our case has moved beyond whether if we were talking about ethics, who is going to enforce the ethics? Who will enforce it? In the absence of a societal decision to walk away from this ruinous path that we all appear to have embraced as a collective. Because you would imagine that if the judiciary went mad like ours appear to have gone crazy, then maybe the religious orders, whether that be Muslim or Christian, would even have something to say to speak to the complete absence of justice, manifest and complete absence of justice from our system. But which one of them have you heard saying anything? Who has said a word? So it's not just about the judiciary, it's just that it is easier to point at the judiciary because if you heard the rumbling of thunder, it's easy for you to say rain is coming. So when what should be the last hope of the common man has become as hopeless as our own judiciary has obviously become, then it becomes alarming and we start talking about the judiciary, but which part?
They thought surgery was the only way to fix this. until this happened. This $60 military device, equipped with BioAlign technology, realigns your body to optimize spinal health, setting a new standard to the industry. And its unprecedented success is leaving chiropractors across the nation in the dust. It has sold over 2 million units in the last 30 days, all without the help of Amazon or Walmart. It's called TrueFit, and it's been featured on Fox, ABC, and NBC a few times. Ever since its launch, the effectiveness of TrueFit has threatened to disrupt traditional medical treatments and rehabilitation practices, resulting in pushback from insurance companies. They are lobbying against TrueFit, fearing significant losses due to the reduced need for medications, surgeries, and long-term treatments. It was originally designed for military use, proving essential for maintaining peak physical performance and rapid recovery from injuries in the most demanding operational environments. It was later adapted for use by hospitals, which depended on this device for effective posture correction and pain relief, ensuring optimal patient care and rehabilitation. TrueFit's patented clinical technology, developed using over 10 million human posture data points, easily corrects bad posture and misaligned muscles. By using TrueFit, your muscles and back are automatically adjusted with ergonomic precision, enabling you to maintain proper posture. The results are instant, providing non-invasive, pain-free treatment for your back pain. The best part is, it works on all ages and body types, even correcting severe posture issues in seniors. You can avoid expensive therapy and long-term costs, say goodbye to chronic pain and stress, and significantly improve your quality of life. Since being featured on TV, TrueFit has sold 2 million units in the last 30 days. Lucky for you, TrueFit is conducting market research and is giving away their device to Americans born before 1978 for 50% off in exchange for your valuable feedback. Yes, you heard that right. 50% off. It's a win-win situation. In fact, thousands of Americans have already jumped on this opportunity. Remember, this is a limited time opportunity, and stock will run out fast. Last time they ran this promotion, they
of our lives as Nigerians really in truth encourages any hope. We all need to actually look at ourselves and tell ourselves the truth that what we have done to ourselves, our children, is not sustainable. We've destroyed this country, and if we don't call ourselves back, it will be beyond redemption very soon. How do you, I'm a lawyer. I was trained as one. I would even go as far as to sometimes argue that perhaps I was born one. But here is the thing. Even me, I have cases in the system. I went to court knowing I won't get justice. Just for the record, just so that people will not say, what did you do about it? That's how hopeless our judiciary has become. Only the rich can get any vestige of justice within the system. Only the rich and the powerful. The judicial system has become a tool for the oppression of the weak. People went out to protest. I'm sorry, I need to make this point. People went out to protest against hunger. They went out to protest against hunger. You had somebody like Wike, governments all over the place, even the ones in Lagos State, they rushed all over the place, went to the court, to go and get injunction against people looking to protest. They used the judiciary to handcuff citizens, quote and unquote, who presume to demand the right to peaceful protest. The judiciary was the one, they used judges to issue pronouncements. To make the matter worse, the state went ahead and charged peaceful protesters for treason. Treason. You want to criminalize the right of protest? Treason. Hungry people came out. You are selling them daily, and you are criminalizing protest. And the judiciary has become complicit in the oppression and suppression of the Nigerian people. So if the people lose hope in the judiciary as they have, I have lost hope completely in the judiciary. That's the honest to God truth. If the people lose hope in the judiciary, what is left?
Clearly, there are quite a few people too who share those sentiments. You know, we have seen instances of very troubling decisions And, and I'm sure that there are even deeper issues that most people don't know about. But before we get too deep into it, we had on this show Chief Kanu Agabi, two-time Attorney General of the Federation, and we were talking about, the judiciary. And his argument was that, look, the judges have been overworked. And he said that whatever it is that we see happening in the judiciary is because the judges have been overworked. He gave an example and said that, look, there are judges who have to deal with as much as 20 or 30 cases in one day. He even said that, look, he has worked in the executive as Attorney General, he has worked in the legislature as a senator, and being a lawyer, he has worked in the judiciary, that he still thinks that the judiciary is still the best. Now, the reason why I brought that one up is to say that certainly you too must think that there are still some good judges that are working in what you believe to be a bad system. How do you respond to that?
Let me put it this way.
I just got paid $60,000 for my car crash from using this app on my phone. And I don't know if you could see this, but it's called Case Connect Compensation Calculator right here. And
every system is made up of persons. So every system is only as strong or as weak as the persons who make up the system. If you have 100 judges and you can only point at perhaps maybe 5, maybe 10, or even if you are generous, let's say 50 out of 100, and that is me being overly generous. Let's say 50 out of 100 can be said to be above board and capable of dispensing justice. And let's be clear, corruption is not only about collecting money to pervert justice within the system. Corruption is making up your mind about the case before you even heard the matter because of your own prejudices. So when you have a situation where a fair amount, even if it's 10 out of 100 that are corrupt within a judicial system, that's bad enough. But our judiciary is not any different from our police or our custom or our clergy or our teachers or our mechanics or our doctors for that matter. They are us. So when we start talking about our judges, and yeah, there are good ones amongst them, I've had occasion, I've been at the mercy of this same judiciary that I speak about all the time. I had a case where I was pursued through the court. I was convicted at the High Court. It took the mercies of the Court of Appeal justices who reviewed the appeal to quash my conviction. So it's not as if I'm speaking to a place where I am an angel and everybody are devils or demons. No, it's about the system that we have built. Even when good judges are within the system, the administrative judges will not give them cases that involves persons of power where they know that the judge would not do their bidding. These are things that lawyers know. There was once upon a time in this Lagos state when a particular person was in power as governor in Lagos state, when you sued Lagos state, and that is the practice until today, if you sue a Lagos state agency or you sue the Lagos state government, you'll be collecting dates when the judges knew they would not even be sitting. So you might have a case in court for the next 5 years. Every time you went to court, you are going to get an adjournment because you are suing the parties that may not be sued. That's the kind of system that we have evolved. We've evolved. The best that our judicial system can deliver the way it is currently is maybe the administration of impunity. So you just take care of those that must not be touched, and at best give the semblance of justice to the victims of the system. But we've not evolved a judicial system that is truly capable of upholding the rule of law, dealing with everybody as equals, and truly being blind as the goddess of justice is meant to be, holding a just scale and a sword that would do justice as between the parties that are before it. until our country is structured to deliver justice, until the judges themselves are related to the people to whom they are meant to be dispensing justice, until each and every one of us understand the fact that the more we weaken the fabric of the society by making all these exceptions for persons that have rendered the system incapable of dispensing justice to all, our system is bound to grind to a halt one day, the way we are going.
If you're thinking of selling your home soon, you don't want to miss out on this. Not only will I buy your house fast, but I can also pay your next month's rent, mortgage, or cover your moving costs. Our team will buy your home as is in it.
Quite sad. All right. I mean, I have read a book that you. I think you must have written this book quite recently. Is the Nigeria and its criminal justice system, and you know what really struck me about the book was the case that you narrated, whereby there was a land matter in I think it's Lekki, Osapa area, where, according to your book, the matter got to the Supreme Court. I think it was a case that involved some of the families. I think there was a contest about a particular portion of land. And the matter got to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court made a ruling that gave judgment to the Eletu Badamasi family, 10 acres, if I got the number right. And then, as you reported in the book, that their lawyer went back to the Supreme Court and got the Supreme Court to increase the allocation of the hectares after the Supreme Court itself had said, look, this family, all you get here is 10 acres. And so I mean, something happened, they weren't satisfied, went back, and the Supreme Court, in your book that you reported, gave the family almost or close to 250 acres. Now, Mr. Dede, can you just summarize to us what happened in that case for the benefit of our viewers before we now try and, because I think this is something that we should look closely at. Can you give us a summary what happened in that case?
I thank God for the grace of life that I managed to write the book, that I'm alive to defend the truth, which requires no defense, that each and every one of the persons that I mentioned in the book are alive and well and able to deny what I have written concerning what transpired. But in order to answer your question, I'm giving this background so that I need people to understand very clearly that I'm not about persons. I don't really care much for persons. We're all bit part players. However high or low, we'll spend our time here and then we'll go. But we would all render account for whatever we do with our life. So here is the thing. When I was much younger in practice, my first law office worked for the Ojomu family. They were more or less exclusively the lawyers for the Ojomu chieftaincy family. So I grew up in practice within that space, and I was fortunate to have, how when you're in a space, you hear different things. So I'd heard about the case involving the Ojomus and the Eletus since my very early years in practice. That case was at the time freshly decided at the High Court, and then it later moved on to the Court of Appeal, and it spent quite a while there, but eventually it came out, and the Court of Appeal still gave victory to the Ojomus. But I kept following these over the course of time, but because I live in the neighborhood as well as practice in that neighborhood as well. So I knew from way back that some people named the Eletu family and Badamasi Eletu had purchased land from the Ojomu family. And I knew that there had been that grievance about some fraudulence in relation to the deed. So by the time my clients were purchasing things in that neighborhood and they were asking questions about what kind of legal risks they might be running. I was careful to explain to them, because I've studied the case from very early in my practice, that, well, the totality of argument was restricted, obviously, to a very small part. So I gave legal advice based on my knowledge, not just of the law, but of the facts. So by the time the Supreme Court did deliver this judgment, I believe that must be in 2012, 2013, I can't really remember now. And the Eletu family started going around the whole of Osakpa, part of Ajiron, Agungi area, marking buildings, claiming that the Supreme Court had given them 254 hectares of land. I knew something fishy was going on. So immediately I asked a council in Abuja to procure the judgment of the Supreme Court as well as the enrolled order of the court. And we looked at it, and we again advised our clients that they had nothing to worry about, because a case was instituted earlier on, I believe that was in 1993, M779/93, I believe. Yes, that case was between the Eletu people and Lagos State government. And the Eletu had settled their claim in relation to the 254 hectares in question. So the doctrine of estoppel in law would obviously have stopped them from claiming anything more. In addition to the fact that the land had already been acquired and then subsequently given out to many people by Lagos State government CFO. So I knew something fishy was going on when they made these assertions. I looked at the judgment. We advised our clients to ignore them, but we reached out so that we could understand the basis of their claim. Long story cut short, the attempted enforcement, we ended up in court. The order for enforcement that they got was quashed. All this is in the book. Then the gremlins sprang up again and went back to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, without any basis in law or common sense for that matter, in gross violation of each and every one of their own rule of practice, Supreme Court, without the benefit of survey in front of it, was busy multiplying and dividing land without surveying. Something never played in any part, whether in the lower court, court of appeal, was never raised and could never have been raised.
So I know that it got to a point that the matter got to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that the Eletu should get about 10 hectares. Okay.
Yes.
And then, and just a minute, just a minute, and then there was an attempt to file a writ of possession that went beyond 10 hectares. Is that what happened?
Yes.
So I want our viewers to follow that sequence.
Let me share that with you. So there was a previous case that I have mentioned, M779/93. It was a case involving the Eletu and Lagos State. And in that case, a settlement was reached. Eletus were to accept 10 hectares of land in full and final settlement of their claim against Lagos State. The same Lagos State against whom they had settled were the ones who issued title to everybody, because they had by then acquired each and every land in the Lekki Peninsula. They revoked all rights, customary and statutory, to every land in the entire axis, gazetted it, and subsequently, when they settled with the Eletu, that was filed as the judgment of the court. So the Eletus could no longer be asserting any claim. And that was what the Supreme Court said, that what you have been given in M779, the Supreme Court was careful. It was Akaaz, JSC, that delivered the lead judgment. And he said clearly that the fruit of their judgment given in M779/93, they should go and enjoy it. That is their own, which are the 10 hectares. So by the time they got to Lagos to file for enforcement, somebody fraudulently, I repeat it again, fraudulently underlined the consenting judgment of Rosevivor, JSC as it then was, where he said they had unextinguished equitable interest in 254 hectares, unextinguished equitable interest. where that equitable interest is supposed to stand is left to him, but it was something said in consenting to the judgment of Akaas, which gave only 10 hectares. They then underlined that portion of the judgment without the enrolled order of the Supreme Court. They came to Lagos State and applied for a writ of possession, and they got it from the judge in Lagos State. The admin judge in the Lagos division gave them a writ of possession for 254 hectares.
If you have a 700 plus credit score, you qualify for Chase's new program where you could access up to $150,000 capital for free at 0%.
Instead of 10.
Instead of 10, which was what this court gave, she proceeded to issue a writ for 254 hectares. So when they attempted to enforce this, of course, we resisted enforcement and then went back to court. Remember this, they never filed the enrolled order of the Supreme Court in getting that order to enforce judgment on 254 hectares based on the consenting judgment of Roosevelt, where he was talking about unextinguished equitable interest. So when they attempted this enforcement, we resisted it, wrote multiple petitions, including ones asserting criminal allegations against the lawyers who were attempting to enforce this fraud. And eventually, as I narrated in the book, that order was quashed. When the order was quashed, the beneficiaries of the original fraud ran back to the Supreme Court that whatever it was they might have agreed as between themselves hasn't been delivered because this troublesome lawyer in Lagos has this judgment that has this ruling that has quashed the thing. So they now resorted, they claimed that they had a clerical error to correct. Supreme Court became mathematician. They were removing, subtracting, adding. Survey that nobody ever played. I'm not even sure even they ever saw any survey because nobody was ever served any motion again because the Supreme Court claimed when lawyers rose in the Supreme Court to show the Supreme Court that you cannot do this. They said no, they are not doing anything. They are correcting clerical error. Clerical error. Up until today, they cannot enforce because they know, everybody knows that is a fraud.
Interesting, yeah. So, and that's that seems to be the redemptive point about that case. The fact that nobody is trying to enforce it, but it turns out, as was narrated in the book, you made that point that the lawyers who got Supreme Court to now say is 250 hectares instead of 10 seem to fall out with the Eletu family. And then another lawyer started to take the matter up, and the senior lawyer went to ICPC to now challenge that other lawyer. Can you tell us that story, Mr. Bello?
It's their story to tell. It's not mine. I generally try to avoid talking about persons. The only thing I'll say about that is this. I probably would never have known of the horrible libel that Chief Afe Babalola had against me in his letter to the then Chief Judge of Lagos State, Ayomide Phillips. I would never have known of what transpired if there hadn't ensued this quarrel between Chief Afe Babalola and Lawal Pedro. But it was Lawal Pedro grabbing Afe's clients that led Lawal Pedro that led Afe to go and write petition to ICPC. That was the first time I became aware that something funny was going on. Oh, Chief Afe Babalola, I believe, wrote the petition to ICPC complaining, and I think the LPDC as well, complaining, look, I know that they fell out. Eventually, the matter ended up in the Lagos State High Court. So the only relevance of their squabble, which I know transcended whether it was LPDC or ICPC and then ended up in the court, that's the extent of my interest in their squabble. Because if they were not quarreling, I would have been blissfully unaware of what had transpired.
Okay, now, so let me just say for purposes of objectivity and fairness, that of course we are open to the names of the lawyers that have been mentioned to also come up with their own side of the story. This is by no means a one-sided stuff. We want, if they want to, we are open to them also giving us their side of the story. The important thing that we're trying to do here is to ensure that there is fairness and objectivity to all. Now, having said that, Mr. Dede, I want us to now move to state of the nation.
We actually have systemic collapse staring us in the face. If we are going to be able to solve these problems, it would have to be because we decided as a collective that we must change things around. So if I'm speaking only to the judiciary, it's a waste of time.
I understand, and that's actually the basis of my next question. So when one takes a look at some of these, this kind of situation and several others that we have seen in society, it just reminds you of the imperative of the rule of law. Because you will, even in this in the facts that you detailed in your book. So I'm quite intrigued about what happened between those two lawyers. One seemed to be able to exact a lot of influence on a particular court in Abuja. Another seemed to be able to exert influence in particular courts in Lagos. And this is the imperative of the rule of law. Now, I'm sure that you and a lot of our viewers understand how the rule of law became a question of enlightening self-interest. And that's the point, that's where I'm going. That it is in the interest of all of us, especially the elite, because you don't know when you're going to be out of favor, you're going to know when you're going to be out of power. A time is going to come when the only defense and protection that you're going to have is actually that it is the law that is ruling, not your interest, not that you have friends or influence. So that brings me to the question of elite consensus. I don't know whether we have discussed this before, but I wanted to take it there, and you are free to take it whichever way you choose. Is it not time for the Nigerian elite, as part of how we can begin to reform our entire society, to be able to say that, look, these are the minimum levels and standards of operation, be it in politics, be it in the judiciary, be it in education, be it in business, that look, these are the minimum. And one of them is to enforce and ensure that we have the rule of law. Your take, Mr. Farotimi.
Me, as you would have recalled from our past conversations, I'm big on linguistic exactitude. So when you use the phrase, the Nigerian elite, question is, who is the Nigerian elite? Sybaritic, myopic.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house, no matter what condition it's in. If you need to sell your house for any reason.
People consumed by consumption. They don't think beyond what they will eat next, what they will drink. That's the only thing that ever crosses their minds. It's just about existing. They don't think beyond their lifetime. All they focus on is in stupid acquisition of money, obscene display of debauchery of all sorts, ever more debased acquisition of the commonwealth. Are those the ones you call elite? Mindless pursuit of money as if they are going to live forever. They live stupidly consumed by the pursuit of money. We don't have elite in Nigeria. We have no elites in Nigeria. If we were a country blessed with an elite class, they would have demanded better, both of themselves and of the society they have built. You know the tragedy of the people you are calling elite. The pinnacle of their achievement in their own eyes is their capacity to buy homes abroad and send their children abroad and be able to take their children abroad. They build things that their children cannot even inherit. They are building a country that their children can't survive in. Are those the ones you are calling elite? Which elite? Nigeria is not blessed with an elite class. Wherever you look at it, whether it's in the academia, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the economy itself, which elite? The only thing they compete about is my private jet is bigger than yours. That's all now. Which elite? What is elite about our society? Exactly what have they done in the society that is suggestive of a people that may be considered elite? What elite? All of them are carrying second passports. Each and every one of the person you may call elite in Nigeria today has a second passport. If the British who governs us indirectly or the Americans who benefit from our putrefaction have not granted them either permanent stay or residence or their passport, their children are carrying it, or they will go and buy one of the Mediterranean countries' passports, or they will go to say all these funny countries, Grenadine, this one, that one, each and every, including your traditional rulers, they all carry all these funny passports up and down the place. Are those the ones they are calling elite? Elites living in slums. Those are the elites. We have no elites in Nigeria. Don't let's fool ourselves. We have no elites. So please, stop. You don't have an elite. I'm sorry to say, there is no elite in Nigeria. Please.
But my point, I understand your sentiments, Mr. Fabrotimi. My point is that we must find, and I know that you believe that a lot of these things are hopeless, but we must, to the extent that we are alive, we must find a redemptive cause. There must be things that, wait, brother, just a minute. There must be things that we should be able to talk about where we can say that, okay, look, this thing is ruined. This is how to rebuild. And that's what I'm trying to get you to talk about. Yes. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Remember.
Hey, check this out. So I stopped buying random lotto tickets and started doing instead. You've probably heard that winning the...
I came into the public space in Nigeria in February 2015. From that time up until date, I warned Nigerians each and every time they were getting to junctions and they were about to make errors. I warned our rulers, I warned the people themselves. Over the years, each and every critical moment, I did not find the peace of the grave. I kept my mouth open. I never kept quiet. And each time, I also offered solutions. I didn't merely lament about the problems. I went further. I wrote down the solutions. So I have never been quiet. I even participated in the last election. I got involved. So I have never been quiet, and I offered solutions. And this time again, I'm not shy. It's the same solution. That's why I keep saying that we are lying to ourselves when we look at sectors. Our problem is systemic. We need to be honest enough to tell ourselves that our situation is abnormal. And you cannot find salvation within the existing system. The existing system is incapable of delivering anything positive. And in the knowledge of that, I have said repeatedly over the years, we need a revolution in Nigeria. The only duty of the conscious is to ensure that that revolution does not become violent. We're already in a tailspin. We're already entering multiple cycles of violence. The only reason the people appear to be docile is because nobody wants to go and fight without purpose. So those who believe that our system is unsustainable as it is, and I believe that the thing we should be doing is to be discussing the plan for the day after. Without a plan for the day after, what you have is chaos. Nkrumah was very specific. He said revolutions are brought about by men of action who act as men of thought. You don't go on the street and start burning. It's a commonwealth you'll be burning. But it's within our right to tell our rulers that we can no longer accept the way we are being ruined. It's within our right, even the democratic right of citizens. Even though you might not treat us as citizens, even our human says that you cannot beat a child and demand or dictate how loudly it must cry. The only thing that we have failed to do is to organize ourselves in a manner that forces it on the ruiners to understand that we are united in our demand. Look at what is happening in Maiduguri. They told you this dam was going to break. You were told, you knew, like less than a week before it eventually broke, you came out and said, your team of experts said nothing will happen. They don't care about us. And we can't continue in this manner. And what happened in Maiduguri is not unique to Maiduguri. You find it replicated across the length and breadth of Nigeria. There is no part of our country that has escaped this madness. So why has it become so difficult for us? Because, like you said, you are looking for elite. It is that elite class that should be building the consensus, that should be making the plan for the day after. But where are they? They are drinking 32-year-old whiskey. They are chasing their next big kill. Those are the ones that should now be telling the people that they should be having plan for the day after the mess that we have become immersed in. So when you say solution, the solution is clear. We simply can't continue like this. What you call a revolution is simply a turnaround. It's simple. The military can come with their banditry and then turn revolution into something that is supposedly violent, because each and every military adventurers and bandits call their people, they say Revolutionary Army Council. Bandits calling themselves revolutionary, so they spoiled the name. But what is a revolution? It simply means a turnaround.
Hi, this is Jake from Optry.
You have to turn around. If you don't know where you are going, you must at least know where you are coming from.
So that means that there must be some kind of a way to arrange this thing, which is we want to change the system. Now, you've argued and submitted that, hey, look, I mean, we can't depend on the elites, which is another way of saying that a lot, you are dissatisfied with the behavior and the conduct of a lot of them. But my view is that there are enough Nigerians who share your sentiment, who share my sentiment, that things can be fixed. And we must be able to find those people, men and women, and then in an orderly fashion, begin to pursue the ideals that we believe ought to be the replacement, ought to be the anchor for the new system. That's my point about the elite consensus. Of course, I know that a lot of the description that you have made about the elites, yes, there are those that fit into it. But I must tell you, Mr. Fautimi, that there are enough people who have the right mind, who have the determination and the resolve. Okay? My point is that how do you get those people around? There must be some kind of orderly and something that is within the ambit of the law. Because, hey, in spite of all the disorderliness that you have described, we must find, we still have to use some kind of orderly atmosphere to arrange what it is that ought to be done, because even you subscribe to the idea that you don't want a bloody revolution.
There are different prophets sent to different pulpits. I don't pretend to be Yele Sowore. Don't pretend to be Peter Obi or Donald Duke or anyone else. I am simply Dele Farotimi. It might very well be that the totality of the purpose of my own life is to point out to the members of that elite class who still retain some basic capacity to think like human beings, to listen to the ranting of the like of me, who is not necessarily particularly sane, So they can then take that and understand maybe all I need to do is rant like I'm ranting, so that the more reasonable and methodical who might be, because you remember, I think it was Prophet Elijah, he was crying to God, I'm the only one that is remaining of all your prophets. God said, shut up. I have 7,500 who have not tasted of Baal's meat. So it is very possible, and sorry? Yeah, I know as a fact that there are a lot of good Nigerians, some of them completely silent, unknown. I'm just the one who is blessed to have cameras in front of me to speak for some of them. They just don't have the voice, or they want to say it and they can't say it the way I'm saying it. But those who are hearing, and it is given to them to organize to begin to talk about the plan for the day after, they should get together and start talking. There are good men in this country.
They thought surgery was the only way to fix this, until this happened. This $60 military device.
What kind of stupid country would I be in if I'm the only person who is capable of recognizing the truth? It will mean I'm crazy. It's already bad enough that I'm considered mad, but I know that there are multiple persons who also sees the things I'm saying and whose approach are completely different from mine. But it doesn't matter. Whatever approach they have, they are the ones who should now feel themselves propelled to take action.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I really, I appreciate that point. And, it answers, my question. Our hope and desire will be that we will be able to find all the different people, right-minded thinking people doing their own different little bits that can bring that desired Nigeria that we all carry in our mind. Thank you so much, Mr. Dele Farotimi, a retired lawyer, for coming to Inside Sources, and thank you for the role that you are playing in calling all of us to questions. And I have no doubt in my mind that it's important to have, just like you've said, different people in different areas trying to address the different aspects of this systemic problem that we have. I believe, and that's why.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. There's been a lot of conversation when the president said President Tinubu will reshuffle his cabinet and may do so before the 1st of October. His spokesperson has said as much. The president, according to them, is expressed his desire to reshuffle his cabinet, and he will do it. They say, I do not know whether he wants to do it before October 1st, then he will surely do it. That is what I would say, but he has not given us any timeline. Those are some of the words of Mr. Bayo Onanuga. But what does this mean? Anyways, for Nigeria, the state of the nation, the state of affairs, President Tinubu's capacity to handle things and move the nation forward based on some of the promises that he's made. Let's get some insight into the expectations of Nigerians. I'm being joined tonight by, well, if you call him a former member of the APC, former friend of former President Muhammadu Buhari, is now a chieftain of the NNPP. Alhaji Buba Galadima is live with us now. So thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sure.
Yeah. How much of an anticipation do you have for the planned reshuffling of the president's cabinet?
Sure. That's nothing to do with me or with any Nigerian. What is of importance to all of us is bringing down the harsh conditions of living. And the buck stops only on the table of one man. And that is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No amount of reshuffle can make any difference.
But I mean, there's just one president. He cannot do the job alone all by himself. That's why he needs a team. And now, I'm very certain that if they were doing a perfect job, it wouldn't need
as far as that team.
Your assessment, Alhaji Galadima.
As far as that team is only job for the boys, nothing will come out of it.
What do you mean job for the boys? There are technocrats in that team. There are those who are eminent Nigerians who are in that cabinet.
Who are?
There's a Professor Ali. There is Governor Yinsam Wike there. There is quite a number of people. Dave Umahi, Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, Anikin Lopobre, Minister of State for Petroleum.
Some of them, given the environment, can perform. Wike is performing not because he's Wike, but because he was given the wherewithal to perform. Any other Nigerian given that opportunity could do the same.
But I mean, you are in the opposition, but the fact remains that the way and manner the nation is run, and those who are in the saddle has to be scrutinized to the extent of looking at what they are doing, an assessment of what the government has said there will be an assessment and KPIs are set for how they deliver their jobs. But now when the president said, I'm going to reject, it's just about a year since the president appointed them. In your own sense, I mean, we've seen technocrats in government, the Okonjo Iwealas of this world, who have come into government, the Adeshinas of this world, who is now in the AFDB and the rest. What are your expectations should the president decide to reshuffle?
I think, Shaun, I have to assist you because there is something you don't know. As far as Nigeria is concerned, if you own this whole building and you don't give anything, but your security man at the gate dashes money to people, he will be told Rankaidade. So the situation cannot change unless people have got the wherewithal to put in their best.
Explain to us what you mean.
Look at Wike. He was exonerated from putting his revenue into the single treasury account. He's allowed to generate funds as he wishes and spend them as he wishes. Did you know that yesterday, under 5 minutes, is approved by the National Assembly? 5 minutes.
In Los Altos, we believe that every moment could be an opportunity to smile more, like Anna.
So, please,
so you think that
don't have, I urge Nigerians not to have hypertension. Nothing will change.
No matter who the president brings into
yes, unless we'll have a better life, we'll have a list of life, so condition of living will be brought down. In the social media that is quoting some sources in the Dangote refinery that they are giving PMS price 1,200 in Maiduguri and Damaturu.
Could that be true though? Because official statement coming from the of Dangote and the NNPCL does not reflect that.
No. Not from Dangote. Dangote didn't say anything.
He has said that the NNPCL and the government should determine those prices.
Why?
And the NNPCL has said they will agree.
I thought we are running free economy. Why should you sell my own product when I produce? You can tax me, but you can't sell. So there is something.
So you think Dangote should be able to determine how he wants to sell?
Of course, and you subject him to competition. And a lot of tanks is wobbling that maybe government is forcing him to give it to NNPC because they want to protect certain interests.
And what interest is that?
I find out. You are an investigative journalist.
Yes,
I saw you speak in Edo.
Yeah. But the fact remains that Alhaji Galadima, that, I mean, you are very close to power. You're a very powerful man.
No.
You are the friend of a former president, so you know.
Even this one.
Oh, you're a friend of President
Tinubu. Of course.
Oh, you go to the villa to say?
No, I don't go to the villa, but
he's your very good friend. So you know a lot, that's why.
No, I don't know anything because I've never been in power. I have never been even a councillor.
No, but you have been close to power.
Yes. During Abacha, I was.
Even
And I know how governments run.
Even in the APC, you were close to power.
Friends.
Until you got upset and you left that cycle.
Friends. And in Nigeria, don't beat your chest for anybody because you knew him before. He will disappoint you.
But the much that you know about President Bola Tinubu, how would you assess him over the past 1 year or more that he's been in the office?
Up and down.
What do you mean by that?
Well, some elements of direction, some elements of...
Are you disappointed?
Very much.
Because of the Bola Tinubu that you know?
Yes.
Why?
I expected him to do better than this.
Where do you think?
And I expected him to hit the ground running because we thought that he's coming with a team that know all the dots and corners of everything. It didn't appear to be so, and he should be told.
So
and he should be told that some of his appointees are more interested in their pockets than service delivery.
Who are these people that you're talking about?
I said you are a journalist.
I mean, I imagine that Buba Galadima is an elder statesman who is fearless. No. And at your age, you are an old man now. So
me older.
Aren't you an old man?
No.
What else are you afraid of?
No. I'm not an old man. I don't feel. I don't feel like that.
You are young at heart.
Of course.
But you're a grandfather.
Of course, I can perform wonders.
So the question I'm asking here is that if you think that there are those who are in power who are not doing right by Nigerians, who are these people?
Let me tell you something. If anybody among them does wrong, it is not that person. It is the person who appointed him. Because, look, there was a minister suspended, on allegation. What stops the president from firing that minister, firing her? The next hour, that issue was determined. It is now getting to how many months or years? She's still hanging, receiving salary.
No, I'm not sure she is.
If you are suspended in the civil service role, which you didn't do, you should be having at least half salary.
I worked in the civil service.
Then you should know that the financial instructions of service says that if you are suspended, you take half of your salary.
But sometimes you could be suspended without pay.
No.
No, it happens. Punishment sometimes could be punitive.
That is punishment. This one is suspension for investigation.
But are you sure that she's earning a salary?
Of course she should. If she is not, let her come to me. I will be her lawyer. I will get her money, backlog.
So she should be, for the status of a suspended minister,
yes,
she should be earning a salary.
At least half salary.
So
and nobody is courageous enough to tell us that this is the result of the investigation. Even sometimes you hear that maybe during this cabinet reshuffle, she will be fitted in.
You think so?
Of course. Why? What's in Nigeria? No wonders now. Not everything is possible.
I mean,
anything.
If you look at the cabinet, would you be able to say you are able to identify some eggheads or some people who are really performing?
I've identified one person, at least physically. Now I lost before coming here. I got lost because Wike is working. Whether you like him, you don't like him, at least he has put a face to this Abuja. My own brother and friend was here for 8 years, only praying in the office.
The former minister of FCT.
Of course. What did he do?
You don't think he did anything?
What did he do?
You think he's a failure?
I said, what did he do? No, I'm not saying he's a failure, but tell me what his performance. So we should call a spade a spade.
Let me show you some of these faces. There are a few more people, right? That a lot of people think that they did well. And some people have identified. In fact, after the program yesterday, when these faces were shown on this program, there are those who say, oh, there are a few more people that we could have added into it. So look at them, Alhaji Galadima. Your man, Nyesom Wike, is the first on that list, followed by the Minister of Interior, followed by Dave Umahi, Works Minister, Then under it is Bagudu, the Minister of Budget, Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, Minister of Health.
Just stop there. You don't need to go further. If you say David Umahi, I agree that he's doing his little best, but you cannot physically see what he's doing in Abuja. I said Wike because I see with my eye koro what Wike is doing here.
What about those who
This Minister for Interior, is it not, have you heard about this Bobrisky scandal?
Where the allegations of the
Is
prisons,
it allegation?
Allegations that the some of
Is this in the Minister of Internal?
Interior? Yes,
Interior.
it's under the House of Reps is probing it. Is under the Ministry of Interior, the National Correctional Service.
Do you know that they can sentence you and don't go to prison in Nigeria?
Tell us more about that.
Do you know that you can pay money to be pardoned?
It happens really.
Hey, want to know how I got this $50,000 check for an accident I was involved in over 5 months ago? Look, if you...
So you can bribe your way.
Asking me.
So you know a lot. I'm just a young person. So you've seen a lot and you've heard a lot. And you're a very powerful man in this country.
This is very contemporary.
Yes, I don't know everything. So I'm learning that there in a Nigeria that will belong.
Can you tell me what has the Minister of Interior did to deserve a mention? Me, I don't know.
There are those who talk about passports. Our passport acquisition or collection has been eased. There are a few things that people, Nigerians are the ones who put those.
My daughter is just flying by 9:30 flight to London through Istanbul. Do you know how long it took her to change her passport when she came from London?
So you don't agree about the name of some people on that list?
Well, if you I'm a very liberal person.
Mm-hmm.
If you convince me, why not?
So, there are about 9 of them there. There are those who say, oh, the Minister of Communications, the Minister of Power should be there. The Minister of Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lopobri, is supposed to be there. But you
mean with this thing happening in the industry, you are calling Minister of Petroleum instead of you to be macheted by people. If you are saying this outside, you know that Sheon, you will not come back to this.
It is me. It's not me. There are reactions that I'm making reference to from yesterday's program.
In the oil industry, you are mentioning somebody's name. You better be careful.
That's how bad things are.
Yes. These are all the wahala we have in this country now.
Well, is it the minister's fault? I thought it was the president who removed subsidy.
Oh. If I disagree with the policy, can't I resign?
Isn't it a case of a fait accompli? That has happened before he got appointed into office.
Why shouldn't he?
And those who
if I don't believe in any government policy, I get out. Now, I told you that I had never been even a councillor in my life, politically. Am I not living? And I have honor. Let any minister dare me, we go to public and let him see who the people revolve along.
If the president, the kind of ideal cabinet for President Bola Tinubu, in your own eyes, what would it look like?
Look, you see, maybe I have a different opinion. But here, before you, on such programs, I have said times without number since Obasanjo, that if you are president, you are at liberty by this Nigerian constitution. Because I participated in the formulation of the constitution in 1987, 1990, and 2014. So I know the constitution right on my palm. It is the prerogative of the president to hear his aides, to help him deliver. I don't accuse any minister for not delivering. I accuse the person who appointed him.
So we should blame President
himself, president or governor, or now chairman of council.
Quickest way to relieve neuropathy. These are 3 symptoms that are signaling you could be very close to losing your foot.
In this period, I mean, you have said there is hardship, things are tough. But I mean, if you are to give an advice to your friend, I mean, you said the president is your friend. What do you think should be done immediately? Turn things around.
Well, many things. All these issues is revolving around the exchange rate. All these issues, including the petroleum, whatever, PMS, AGO, or whatever you call them, let him bring experts that can advise him on how to sort out the foreign exchange issue, the exchange rate of the Naira. And he can't go on borrowing. He can't. He can't go on borrowing. We don't need to borrow and service the country. Let's cut our clothes, our coat according to our clothes.
Alhaji Galadima, your presidential candidate, Robbie Kwankwaso, said he could do a better job. And in your mind, you think if he were power, he could have done ways?
Because we can even export Sheun to CNN or Al Jazeera to earn dollars. All this Japa that you people are shouting about, we will go deliberately to train Nigerians and send them out, because this is what India did. When we were young, we were the governments of Nigeria, state governments and federal. Sometimes you find an Indian with a master's degree but does not know how to ride a bicycle. It is remittances from Indians all over the world that they managed very well in India, developed IT, developed medical sciences, and today, of the conglomerates in the world, 75 to 80% of their heads are Indians. But no.
How can we change that
mindset? You show you show example as a leader.
How?
You don't know how to lead.
How do you show example as a leader?
Come down to the grassroots. Go to Kano. How they are training people. Dangote Skill Acquisition Center. This, that. They are training young men. Skills. Even though we were being fought by federal government.
Really?
By of course.
In Kano State?
Of course. They know that they are fighting us. We know that they are fighting us. Cooperation is only God and prayers that is saving Kano from catastrophe. For the federal government of Nigeria, Kano should go in flames.
That's a heavy allegation. How can the government be fighting?
They know now. They're even taking over the judiciary. Now we want to do. President said you must do local government election to qualify for local government funds. They are now going there to stop us from conducting local government election because they have judiciary, or they have people who will do their job. Specific directives that there are people in Kano that have more security. You will see what people don't understand is that any part of the body that goes rotten will affect the other parts.
Alaji Galadima, what would be your final thought on the way Nigeria needs to go before we wrap up?
Before Nigeria missed?
I mean, I'm saying as a final word on the program tonight, what do you think we must do immediately to rescue the situation?
Oh, very simple. Conduct free and fair election, which is possible. Anybody that is assumed to be performing, we give him opportunity to continue. Anybody that is not performing, we remove him and put Sheun. Sheun is not performing, you bring Buba Galadima. Then people who come to power will sit up and work for the people. Now, the people have no say.
Alaji Buba Galadima, a former friend to the former president. Former
president.
Friend to the present president. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? Almost many things, of course, is happening in Nigeria. Many things. It's back to back with Nigeria. Everything that's happening with Nigeria is back to back. I don't know what to say. I don't know where we start. As my topic states, I intentionally put Mayday to kind of wake people up, because really Nigeria is in trouble. It's in serious trouble. No joke. This one is not play. No joke at all. Okay? Everywhere you turn in Nigeria, one thing or the other is happening. It's either they are kidnapping or they are unaliving, or some bandits have invaded one community, have wiped out the community, or the military has been, compromised, and they have been, unalived by unknown people and all of that. I hope my audio is good. Because that's quite important. I hope so my audio do okay, because I don't know. Every day when I want thing or the other with Nigeria, I hear say this man wants reshuffle in cabinet. I hear say won't change in what they call them ministers. I hear he's replacing Gbajabiamila with what's his name, Fashola, right, and many others. I don't know who is going to. I don't know if he's replacing them with loyalists. Do you understand? People that are more loyal. I don't even know why he's replacing them. First of all, if anybody knows, maybe you can educate me. Because the people that he has, everyone around him, they all seem to be yes men. They're all part of the same club. Do you understand? So I don't even know the purpose at which he's changing them, because it's not going to make them work any faster or do things better. The likes of Ononuga is still there. I hear he's going to be replacing, I think it's the INEC chairman. I think his time is coming up due really soon, and he's going to be replacing him. And I can tell you for free, he's probably going to be replacing him with someone who's more loyal than ever. Do you understand? So I don't know. Nigeria is a very funny place, Sometimes, yesterday I was thinking, I was like, you know what? What's even the point of talking about Nigeria? There's nothing positive happening in Nigeria. There's nothing. Now it's up to individuals. I saw a video of Bello Galadanchi, I think that's his name, the comedian. The guy spent 4.1 million naira renovating a government school in the north. And one of the responses he got back was that, who did he talk to before he renovated it? I mean, this school was completely dilapidated. The roof was caving in, right? Water was getting into school. The building, everything around it had algae, was growing all around. This guy came, fixed up the school. Now it's so beautiful, right? And did it up so that to, what's it called? Help the students with their creativity. Everybody had something to say. Meanwhile, the same government officials are writing off billions and claiming that they are renovating schools. That's one man doing something for his people in Kano. So now Nigeria is now in the hands of individuals. So if you have, and you're able to do, and you have the capacity, why not? Right? It's going to benefit people in your community. It's going to help your community, children or students go to school. So if one person is doing it, why don't people come together and start to develop and, encourage? Because, for instance, now in Edo State, the person that they selected to be governor, we know he's not going to do anything. So my challenge to Edo people is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to leave your people to become illiterates and beggars on the streets? That's a question that you guys will have to answer. Or do you want to come together, put money together to start educating people by yourselves individually? That's a challenge. There's skills acquisitions. There's so many things, because you want them to be able to match up. There's so many technical, coding, technology skills that they can develop without even being in a classroom. So everybody get to think of how they want to do within their feet do within their own, immediate environment to help their society. Because Nigeria, there's no hope. Federal government, state government, government structures, judiciary, all of them. Now, the judiciary, you can't. This Kekere Eko says, if you say anything about the judiciary, there'll be punishment by lawyers. So any lawyer that is caught saying anything derogatory about the judiciary, they're going to be punished. That's what they're saying. So you think that a lot of people, I don't know how many of the judiciary people are going to come out and be condemning the judiciary like they've been doing. I don't know if they're going to stop or if they're going to continue. But the way things are in Nigeria, it cannot continue like that. We have to tell ourselves the truth. It's either we want to watch it all collapse, everybody's watching it real time with popcorn and juice on one side, or you want to get involved and see what you can do. Every community. Do you understand? I see some communities coming up with great ideas, like, working on the curriculum for the students in their community so that they can match up with those, in all over the world. That's what some people are doing. So every community should be challenged to do the same, unless you want to fold your hand and watch your community collapse. I don't know what else to say, because as it seems, the government, your federal government, is not working for you. They are not there for you. They're there for themselves. They are there to enrich themselves, their families, right? And their business associates and their masters. Nothing is there for you. Nothing. I mean, you literally saw your vice president go to the UN and openly share concerns about Palestine. But meanwhile, your own country, every day mayhem, you don't see anything talk for that one. Now, the woman important to pass, and then also saying that they want a permanent seat in the UN. And there were also questions that your president did not even show up. So if the president does not show up, they will move the slots. They will, well, for lack of better words, relegate. You're not relevant. That's what it means. In fact, Africa is not important to them in the UN. I don't know if you guys saw the first half of the video. Not that I want Africa to be important to them. That's not what I mean. It's the fact that they openly say it. They openly say it to you and nothing happens. And nothing happens. Is this how we want to continue? So everybody need to ask themselves that question and decide which part of the, which part you want fall in. How do you want to come in? How do you want to help? But because whether you like it or not, Nigeria matters to you. If you like, pretend, do as if you don't know what's going on. It will matter to you anytime now. It will. Do you understand? So for me personally, I'm saying every community should challenge themselves to see what they can do about educating their people. Your people need to be educated. Your people need to know what's going on, so that as the world is moving along, they too will have something, some skill under their belt at the end of the day. Everybody's going on about a very dark man, this very dark man, that. Whether I like him or don't like him, the guy is playing some type of role. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. I'm not an expert. But he's calling it out as he sees it. Is he perfect? No, he's not. He's not perfect. He's far from perfect. Matter of fact, some of what he does is very shoddy. But the man is speaking whatever he needs to, he's doing what he needs to do. In the same breath, Showore, the free pedo that we're all shouting, free pedo, free pedo. Showore went to court. They finally released the guy on bail. I don't see anybody talking about. Everybody has a role to play. Showore played his role. Like Showore, don't like Showore. I was vehemently calling him out during the 2023 election. Yes, and I had every right to, and I don't regret it. It was true. The assessment I had about him was true. Okay, but he's playing a role that you cannot deny. He's the only one going. Say whatever you want to say. I've heard people say, oh, maybe government is behind me. Maybe why is it that he gets arrested? You can say whatever you like about him. But the truth remains, the guy is playing a role. He's doing what he needs to do. What are you doing? That's the question. What are you doing? He's doing his own part. He's going to set people free that he can set free. I saw the smile on pedo on this Isaac Bristol that they are claiming is pedo. I saw the smile on the man's face. I saw how happy he was that he's leaving that jacked up place to go back home. I think he has to pay a bail of $5 million. 5 million naira or so. But Showore made it happen. He showed up in court for him. He was there with his people. Look, let me tell you guys, Nigerians, it's not everything. Look, it's not every time that I'm more of, I focus on individual, right? The individual is what I'm concerned about. Until we start to have groups that are thriving and are doing what is good for the people, I'm looking to individuals that are doing some level of cleansing for the land, doing the work of telling the truth, being unafraid to speak the truth and stand on the side of the poor. I am behind such people. Showore, I might not agree with them politically. I might not agree with everything that they do, but you cannot ignore their role in all of this. You can't. What you cannot do is erase their role or put it aside. You can't. Because they're playing their role and they're doing it well. Whether you like it or not, they're doing the best they can, given the circumstances and the society they live in. Very dark man lives in Nigeria. Anything can happen to that guy anytime soon. But he has the courage. So imagine if we had 10 very dark man, 10 Bello Galadanchi, 10 David Udein. Do you understand? Imagine how that society will turn around. Instead of us insulting and say, oh, I beg, let him shut up, let him, Omo, people are doing what they can. They might not be perfect. Nigeria right now, anybody when you come out, if you stand for the truth, stand on the path, stand for the poor people. Now hero is hero to me. Because the people in Nigeria do not have anybody speaking for them. There are no elders. All the elders have left the house. They've abandoned it for the young ones to go and thrive for themselves. Do you understand? So personally, for me, I really, really appreciate these people that I've mentioned. There's also Fishayo Soyombo, I think. He's an investigative journalist. The guy is doing brilliant work, man. These are people that are putting their life on the line. I forget the name of the other guy that I see. I think he's also some type of journalist. I can't remember his name. He's very detailed with his work also. All of them, I give them their flowers. Because these days, it's very rare to find Nigerians that are stepping it up within Nigeria. I'm looking forward to the October 1st protest that they want to have and see what will happen or come out of that. Even though I don't like the fact that it was announced, because anything that's announced in Nigeria, somehow the government always finds a way to hijack it. They will hijack it and turn around, pick up people, put treason on top of their head. That's what they do. Those young people that they charge with treason, I don't know if they've been released. I don't know. But it's such an unfortunate society that we're in that a lot of people are afraid to speak the truth. They're afraid to speak the truth. If your institutions that are supposed to hold people accountable are not doing that, so this is why Yahaya Bello is doing what he's doing. Because he's part of the system and he knows how it works. So it's like, hell no, you guys are not going to hold me. I'm not going to let you guys ridicule me like you ridicule others. Is it good? No. But it is what the society has made possible. So he can stall. And he's in Nigeria. He's not outside of Nigeria. He's doing all of this. He's in Nigeria. Meanwhile, they have declared and say, hey, ransom, if you can tell us where he is. Omo, you guys know where he is. You're just afraid to go and pick him up. Because they know that if they arrest that man, a lot of people are going down. So they are reluctant. They are stalling. They are stalling. So every now and again, they'll come out and mention Yahaya Bello and make you feel like they're doing something. They're not doing anything about it. They don't care. Because the man is in his house. I can tell you for right now. He's probably eating dinner right now or drinking with his friends. He has a private jet. He can travel out anytime he wants. So we don't have any we don't have any systems in Nigeria. Nigeria has officially become a jungle. It has become a jungle. In all of this, your so-called what's his name, Tulumbu, he has not come out to say anything because you didn't vote him in, so he doesn't have to say anything to you. All he cares about is his masters. That's why he travels often to go and give updates to his people. Hey, yes, so yes. I've made life miserable for the people. The land is even rejecting them. Yes, so now you can come and take all the resources. That's what's going on. That is exactly what is going on. The man, that's why he's not doing anything for you, because you did not vote him in. So he's not interested in your concerns. He doesn't care whether you suffer and unalive in no consign now. As far as it is working for him, he's getting his money everywhere. By the way, do you guys hear that they want to toll the roads in Lagos, in Nigeria? That's more money coming to this man. That is more money. Do you know what it means to toll most of the roads in Nigeria? You know how much money that's going to generate for the federal government, not even the states? You have no idea how much money. Your mind has not begun to wrap your mind. It has not begun to imagine how much money that would generate for the federal government. Guess what? You think it's going to go to the federal? It's going to some one man's pocket. Pyramid scheme right there. And then they'll share it among themselves at the top. Nigeria has become a captured state. It's a one-party state. Hate it, like it, whatever. The whole of Nigeria, if nothing is done, every state in Nigeria is going to go APC. Every single state. If people continue to fold their hands and say, okay, well, not, it's going to go. So just prepare. Since nobody wants to do anything, I don't know what the October 1st protest is going to be, is going to bring about. I'm hoping it's very successful. I'm hoping it can do some shaking of some sort. I don't know. We're all going to watch and observe and see what happens. But to tell you the truth, I don't have my hopes up. I don't at all. Knowing this government and knowing how very strategic they are, they would probably pick up those protesters before the day of the protest or find something to do to truncate what they're trying to do. That's what's going to happen. And nobody's going to do anything about it. Nobody's going to say anything. The way we have been quiet, that's how it's going to be. Because we're very, very good at being quiet when things are happening. Nigerians have become very docile, as in, do you understand? Like, let's just manage it like that. Let's just, let's just let it go the way it is going. It is sad, but it's the reality we found ourselves in.
Countries may be seen as undermining Western interest and values, potentially leading to reduced economic support and diplomatic isolation. Russia's growing influence in Africa is largely driven by its strategic interests, including expanding its military footprint, securing natural resources, and gaining political allies. However, this comes with significant risk for African nations, as Russia's involvement is often tied to authoritarian regimes and undermines democratic institutions. African affairs analyst Biodun Shomi and RISE analyst Dr. Sam Amadi joins us now to share their perspectives on how African nations risk losing aid and long-term partnership by aligning with Russia. Good to have you on Newsday, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Very good, Dr. Amadi over there in Abuja. I'm going to start with Mr. Shomi. What do you think are the key economic sectors in Africa nations that are most vulnerable to a reduction in Western aid due to alliances with Russia?
Are you ready for a career change and eager to pursue a rewarding path as a trained electrician? Our electrical
to start with, we've seen how foreign aid has been deployed over the years in sub-Saharan Africa, and more specifically, it's been used as an instrument to promote foreign interest of donor countries. And we've also seen how it's being used to support economics. It comes in different forms, either in terms of soft loans, with reduced interest rate, or heavy loans, or foreign aid. And these are used to promote national interest of the donor countries. And in relation specifically to what has happened in Sahel Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, we can see the clear implication that we have seen France withdrawing aids. We've seen the EU also suspending aids. And of course, we know the Americans are pulling plugs on their aid. So given that situation, they need to worry about where the funds will come to support their own economy. In the first instance, Niger Republic, for instance, has been heavily dependent on foreign aid, to boost its budget and keep the economy afloat, despite the fact that it had huge mineral deposits in uranium. But we've also learned that in the course of so many years, France has also been engaging in sharp practices. And what I mean by that is ensuring that Niger is paid not the appropriate international price for uranium. And then France has the first right of offer. Not only that, the Niger Republic foreign reserves is kept in the bank in Paris, being controlled by the French government with little access, by Niger Republic. And if they are loaning money through the foreign aid, it's still their same money that will be loaned to Niger Republic, through the bank in France. So therefore, we still don't know how heavily this will impact on Niger Republic. It will probably take another year when we see how the resources coming, the revenue coming in from uranium export, and how taking control of their foreign reserves would boost funds, being used to finance the budget. Whether that will happen, whether Russia, which has already stepped in to assist militarily, whether they will be willing to commit more funds into Niger Republic, we still don't know. Because what we know, which is clear, is that a lot of grains are being released by Russia to Niger Republic, Mali, and Burkina Faso. But notwithstanding that, Niger could have gotten all this without having to break relationship, with Western countries. But you can understand the frustrations when aid becomes a burden, when many countries are saddled, with debts. In some cases, the debts have gone up by over 500%. while they are implementing structural adjustment programs dictated by IMF and World Bank, and then you now have this culture of dependence, dependency on foreign aid. Whereas corruption is also a major problem which the foreign aid is not tackling, but rather promoting a culture of dependence.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let me bring Dr. Sam Amadi on now. Of course, we know that this is creating more dependency. And of course, Russia is using this as more of a form of dependency rather than using it as partnership. And so he just mentioned the fact that some countries like the European Union have withdrawn, their support or partnership with Russia. Do you see Africa doing the same? And what do you see as the impact of this partnership or this alliance with Russia? What impact do you see it having on our relationship, that's Africa, our relationship with the West?
Hi, this is Jake from Optry. Optry is
Well, thank you very much. I think it's clear that Africa has not been strategic and maybe not too awareness level among African leaders about the changing geopolitics is very low. During the Cold War era, we had most African countries like Nigeria fell under the non-allied group. And that means that we kind of wisely thought that getting trapped in the East-West conflict wouldn't be good for national development. And African countries focus more on developing their economies, building Pan-African partnership. And like Nigeria, we made it our foreign policy initiative to be Afrocentric. But what has changed? And today, clearly, an alliance with Russia that is not calibrated and well managed could draw backlash from the West. We see two opposed concepts of the world. The American-centered, Europe-American-focused world order is one that does not want Russia to be part of any either bipolar or multipolar world. So if we move towards Russia as we are doing in some part of Africa, we are going to get a backlash. And the first backlash would be a sense in which maybe it's that are strategic, not multilateral, bilateral, would be less to those countries. And again, what the West will do is to isolate. There are going to be those countries that are less embedded with Russia, and they will single them out and give them support. And those who are deeply involved with Russia would suffer the fate. The second thing that is going to happen is cultural. Even although we talk about the Western hypocrisy in terms of development, democracy promotion, and the fact that there's a negative, unintended and intended consequence of AIDS and democracy promotion. But the truth is that the West's commitment in terms of value to open society, to democracy, even if in a shallow, confusing form, is contrast with the Russian model. And so we're going to see a cultural orientation among African leaders, or in fact, a justification for those who are trending towards authoritarianism. And now that we've seen military rule, resurfacing in Africa, especially in the West African coast, I think it would be bad for governance. It would be bad for civil society and all the buoyancy that drives entrepreneurship in the private sector that goes with that. So that's one of the, consequences of getting too close to Russia. And again, we're going to find ourselves becoming the whipping boy, because Russia's focus in Africa is not to make Africa a global power. It's also to use us to wage, and get back on the West. So we might become the sacrificial lamb, as the case might be. We lose the West, but we're not getting to Russia that will not help us. And let's not forget that Russia is part of being, trying to assert itself in this area, is in a way a declining economic and moral power. It's still strong in GDP in terms of primary produce and oil and agro. But if you look at high tech, if you look at the staying power in terms of companies and economic growth, I think Russia is struggling. So getting allied to Russia in a way that causes the West to first move away from us and then undermine us through many strategic UN, World Bank, IMF, and several other platforms will be a disaster for Africa. So I think that in engaging Russia, the focus should be to assert ourselves as independent, to assert ourselves as interested in economic engagement and not to be caught up in Russia's political build-up, to assert itself as against the West. I think if we're that strategic, we still retain our relationship with the West, but again, engaging Russia to be a partner at that level. Again, it's important that Russia is at the lower level of service sector. So Russia is actually where we're competing with. If you look at low manufacturing, the ones that are not high tech enough, Russia is a country that we ought to compete against to provide those services in terms of agriculture, in terms of oil and gas. So we see Russia as a partner we can find a way to eat into their market, to displace them strategically in terms of produce. So if Russia and the West fall out, Africa can step in to provide those services in a competitive manner that Russia could have provided to the West. Example, energy resources, agriculture, and all that. So I think it's a matter of how strategic we are and understanding the changing landscape of global politics, that Russia isn't that overwhelming strong power anymore. China, maybe more than Russia, could play that role in the future, but Russia is struggling to contend the West and reassert itself and create some geopolitical influence. And so Africa shouldn't, journey with Russia in that sense of spiting the West, because there will be no much defense for us when the West hit back at us.
Very good, Dr. Mahdi. Mr. Shomi, if I may go back to insight historically, if you remember during World War II, under the Vichy French forces, under German occupation, France then were losing territories, to Japan and other Axis forces, as it were. Now, to a large extent, after the war, it also led to independence movements, which led to other African nations gaining their independence, as it were. But coming back to the issue of influence of Russia in West Africa, if they don't do well, we're seeing how they're struggling with Ukraine to, make headway in this conflict. How does that align with the relationship with West African countries? How do they view them, as being the all-powerful country they're trying to project themselves? And if you remember, not too long ago in Mali, they've been struggling with rebel movements in the north, whereby even Wagner forces were actually killed to some large extent in ambushes. So all of these forces, when you look at it, how is it telling on Russia's role, or, as it were?
Yeah, the issues are two. One is military, the other is economic. On the military front, what is happening in Ukraine, which is quite clear to the whole world, is NATO and America versus Russia. But Ukraine is the theater, the field of war, sadly. Yeah. And the whole of NATO's weapons are being used. The funds in billions, hundreds of billions of dollars have gone into that war, being funded by NATO. And then we have Russia resisting. So for me, militarily, Russia.
Mr. Show, I'm so sorry to have to interject, but I will come back to you on that. We have some breaking news now. Hezbollah has confirmed the death of its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, following an Israeli airstrike not too long ago. It also pledged to keep fighting its battle against Israel. It stated that, quote, "The leadership of Hezbollah pledges to the highest, holiest, and most precious martyr in our path full of sacrifices, the martyrs to continue its jihad in confronting the enemy, supporting Gaza and Palestine, and defending Lebanon and its steadfast and honorable people." We will keep you updated on more details as they continue to flow in regarding that story. And we also still have Mr. Showimu, you were talking about the issue of,
So for me, Russia is to be able to withstand all the NATO assaults, including funds against it. The economy has not collapsed. Russia seems to be very close to achieving its own strategic goal in Ukraine, particularly in Luhansk and Donetsk Republic. I mean, it's just a matter of 1 or 2 months from all my readings. Now, when you look at Mali, the case of Mali is different. France was in Mali for how long? They could not solve this same problem, and then under the French intervention, we had coups and all that taking place. Now, the Russian Prigozhin-led forces move into the place, which they now call Africa Corps. We've seen they've also suffered some casualties, yet the problem has not been resolved. Contrast that with what happened in Central African Republic when Jotodere was in power. The Russians came in and helped stabilize that country, and that is why Central African Republic is holding on to them. So it's a mixed fortune when you look at it from military viewpoint. Then many African countries are not constrained by the Western nations concerned by human rights, the conditions for sale of weapons. Russia would sell weapons to you if you need them, and that's on the military front. On the economic front, again, you now have to look at what has been the impact of the foreign aid in Africa. Do we really need it? Because the bottom line at the end of the day is that these aids have never transformed any country. These aids are usually given to poor countries with conditions. For instance, structural adjustment policy. We've seen what happened in Zimbabwe, how it destroyed Zambia. We are also implementing some form of adjustment policies in Nigeria. Now, let's take, for instance, the case of Ghana. In 2001, we've seen when they implemented the structural adjustment policy, it went so bad that investment in education dropped to the extent that it is only one child in 400 children that could have access to secondary education because of the increased cost of education in Ghana. Take the example on corruption. Take South Sudan, for instance. If you remember in 2008, the Dura saga scandal, happened. There was famine in Southern Sudan. And the whole world, the Western countries wanted to avert, the famine. So they gave $1 million, to Sudan. What happened to South Sudan? What happened to the money? The contract was awarded to fake companies. The $1 million disappeared into companies, fake companies related to the president, with nothing achieved. Again, when you look at between 2006 and 2012, South Sudan, again, with aid money inclusive, spent $1.7 billion on constructing 74 kilometers of road. 74 kilometers of road. And the contracts were awarded, to cronies, the elites. So what you see is, rather than reducing the poverty in South Sudan, it has also increased poverty. The contrast, if you take it, is in the case of Burundi and Uganda. When Burundi was under aid denial, we realized that the tax revenue went up. Between 1996 and 1998, the tax revenue went up because without foreign aid, they were able to look inwards and then, collect the appropriate taxes, and the revenue went up significantly by more than 15%. Again, in the case of, in the case of Uganda, when Uganda was at war between 1991 and 1996, there was no aid given to Uganda because of the conflict. The tax revenue went up astronomically to the extent that not that Uganda was able to fund the war, more funds were now available even after the war.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Shomi. But I'd like to come to Dr. Sam Amadi, especially on this breaking news coming saying that Hezbollah has confirmed the death of its leader. And of course, that fallout of the war between Israel and that particular region. Talk to us about, or rather that militant group, talk to us about what you think the impact of this will be on the ongoing war.
These mushrooms make you feel better.
Well, it depends on what happens, what the U.S. also does and the Western powers. First, as at yesterday, the issue was whether the U.S. was, taken along, carried along in this strike. And initially, there were signals or statements to the effect that the White House, Washington was not carried along. But later, we learned that maybe a few minutes to the strike, Israel did. Now, the voices in the U.S. and in the West is two issues. One is Israel claims the right to defend itself. But other people say, look, if the U.S. does not support what Israel is doing, then it shouldn't be supplying the resources for that. The question now is, what will Hezbollah do? What will happen to the conflict in the region? The unwritten expectation is that they don't want escalation. But I think the killing of the leader of Hezbollah is read as crossing the red line. The question then is, would this snowball now into an all-out war in the region, especially dragging in Hezbollah, the forces, and of course Hamas, they're all involved. But to what extent would this generate into real or escalate the fight in the Middle East? Two things to bear in mind here is, it looks like the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has been weak a little bit with Western powers. Everybody's basically not supporting him. We saw the UN, he made a speech to an empty hall, but he's bullish on determining to go after those he considers to be the enemies of his country and those who are part of that attack, in Israel. Second is that even with struggling domestically and struggling to get, approval from world leaders, there seems to be a tacit, I think, understanding that Israel will not be hindered in pursuit, even though world leaders speak openly about a ceasefire. Washington is putting together a plan and still, as of yesterday, insisting that that plan will go ahead for a ceasefire. But nevertheless, I think there seems to be starting support to Israel to continue these strikes. And if that continues, the question then is, at what point will some of the more moderate Mid-Eastern countries, Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, and others now maybe take a more diplomatic, reverse of their position and be more frontal in engaging Israel? Will Turkey be drawn into this? What happens in Lebanon in terms of... So I would want to see all out war, but it seems to me that this particular strike could define the moment, and we might see escalation. But the question then is, will it be a deterrence or will it be a provocation? The idea of massive force is that it could deter. And I mean, if Israel is hitting everybody from cell phones to pager and now smashing the headquarters of Hezbollah, would that be a deterrence, or for the time being at least, or will it be a provocation to more out war? So we wait, but this is actually the red line. If there was a red line in managing the conflict between Israel, Hezbollah, and Hamas, this strike is read generally as some kind of crossing the red line. But for me, whether we're going to see immediate response in form of escalation would depend on whether this massive overwhelming force is a deterrence. If it's a deterrence, then it has a chilling effect for a moment before rebuilding. If it's a provocation, we might see a retaliation in a matter of days. So it depends on which side of whether it's a deterrence or a provocation.
Very good, Dr. Mahdi. I would like your thoughts on this as well, Mr. Showmi. The conflict between Hezbollah and Israel was mainly restricted to the border regions. The escalation, caught everyone by surprise, coming from Hezbollah launching unprovoked attack into the heart of Israel, as it were. But do you think Hezbollah...
Nigerians are very funny. Now, the one wey concern us, we know they talk about Hezbollah and the Israel war. Now they talk about. I beg you, we are not ready yet, though. Protest is about to take place October 1st. No, they know they discuss that one. They don't see that one talk.
Action is important. And also, it's an urgent cry to the Tinubu administration to address our demands immediately. Unless these demands are met, more protests will definitely follow the National Day of Survivor on October 1st.
As the Fearless in October protest draws nearer, the organizers have called on Nigerians to troop out in their numbers to come out and protest and demand for an end to bad governance. They have also called on the police to give them protection on that day. The police also invited some of their leaders to the police headquarters in Lagos. Also in Lagos, where they held a press conference making fresh demands from the Tinubu-led administration. Credit to Isaac Obasi, who covered the event.
Here in Lagos State, our peaceful protest march will take place as follows. Date, Tuesday, 1st October 2024. That is the date.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Ferrari, and I am the CEO of Phoenix Capital Group. We look forward to you joining us at our next investor webinar.
Take off points, Ikeja, under bridge. We plan to march from Ikeja under bridge on that round several roads and streets of Lagos State in order to sensitize the Nigerian people who are suffering under the incubus of the anti-poor policies of the Tinubu regime. And the time for the action on October 1st is 7:30 a.m. Let me repeat myself. The date of our action is Tuesday, 1st October 2024. The takeoff point is Ikeja under bridge, and the time is 7:30 a.m. By this announcement, we are informing the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, of our planned October action. We are also, by this means, informing the police of its obligation under Section 3, Subsection 4 of the Police Establishment Act 2020, which imposes a duty on the Nigerian police force to provide adequate security for citizens who may wish to participate in public meetings, rallies, and protests. We hereby call on the Nigerian people, progressive organizations, community groups, student unions, youth groups, to come out massively on October 1st in peaceful protest and demonstration. The October 1st action is a warning, and also it is an urgent cry to the Tinubu administration to address our demands immediately. Unless these demands are met, more protests will definitely follow the National Day of Survival on October 1st. Here are our cardinal demands. 1. We are saying no to IMF neoliberal policies. We are demanding the reversal in the hike in fuel price and electricity tariff back to pre-May 29, 2023 level. We are demanding that government-owned refineries should be made to work in order to guarantee affordable fuel products. Number 10, genuine electoral reform for independent candidature, diaspora voting, and a truly independent electoral body. Conclusion. One lesson that the past 64 years of Nigeria's existence has proven to us is that there can be no progress when the society is run to enrich a few at the expense of the mass majority. As things are today, the problem of Nigeria is not the absence of resources to make life better for all. Rather, what is happening is that the majority of the Nigerian people are wallowing in poverty, despite the abundance of wealth to make life better for them. At the moment, over 80% of Nigeria's wealth has been stolen by just 1% of the population, thereby subjecting the vast majority of the population to a life of toil and suffering. We need a different way of running our country, one that ensures that the country's wealth goes to meet the needs of all and not the greed of a few. This is our definition of good governance. This is how we end poverty and hunger. This is how we can rescue Nigeria and restore its lost glory. Thank ladies and gentlemen of the media for listening to us at this press conference. And we do hope that we continue to enjoy your support in our long journey to freedom. And Luther continua in Gloria South.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
So if our president can go to election to say that, why should protesters?
If you're thinking of selling your home soon, you don't want to miss out on this. Not only will I buy your house.
We hoodwinked into prison in Nigeria. And before we got here, it is through this process of protest. Even the present president became popular because of activism. So, we are demanding, number one, the right to peaceful protest nationwide because of the reasons we have spread out. 10 demands. A responsible government, a democratic government that came to power through the ballot box should have been so committed to respond positively to these demands. They are not outrageous. They're very simple human demands for livelihood. You see, other countries of the world that we go to, the only thing that creates peace in those countries is social welfare infrastructure. They subsidize also every aspect of the life of their people. Why should our own be different?
We individuals, basically, into a consistent state of non-existence. Because when you look at what is happening, you would have thought that this government would at least exhibit some feeling of sympathy with the agonies that apparently appears on the faces of our people. But that's not true. Instead of that, this government is committed, into taking the policies that have, condemned the mass of our people into the state we are in right now. What do I mean by this? Just some days ago, World Bank announced that another fund, another loan is ready, for this government to come and take. And of course, as you know, this government, this is a borrow government, a government that is committed into borrowing. The finance minister came out to say that yes, we are ready. She was literally, jubilating, at the press conference, that they are yet to take another loan. So that's the reality. We have a government that is committed into consistently taking the mass of our people into the state, and that is why resistance becomes very, very important. Which is why we are using this opportunity to call the mass of our people to come out to join, our struggle, because it is not the struggle of members of the ruling class.
This highly unusual 7-second brain song is the best and most powerful method for helping people create a
ready to take back what belongs to them, take back what was stolen from them. So there are so many moves, but we'll keep convincing them. We will keep talking to them. Thank you so much. Let me not take everybody's time.
Nigerians to fight bad speaking to us. So I don't know if the network is back. So let's hear from him before we move on to come with Banwu Olagoke and also to other persons who having this conversation. The louder space, and also if you have questions, you can also drop the questions the comment section. My co-host Shimaria will also do well to pick out questions from there for our guests. So Dr. James, are you available now? Let's hear from you.
Please, host, can I take the spot of whoever that is to speak? I'm in a meeting, but I just want to
Madam Esho, I will bring you on shortly. Just hold on, please. I'll bring you on shortly, please. Just mute your mic. I'll bring you on shortly. Thank you very much. All right, Dr. James, let's hear from you. I think we lost Dr. James again. So I will have to bring on Banwu Olagokun, who is the mobilizer Lagos State Take It Back movement. Kuku noted. Let's have you comrade.
Good evening, comrade. How are they? Today's been a long day. So many people that I met today are interested in the protest. That's a good sign. I spoke to many people on my way to the TV station where an interview was held on End Bad Governance protest. And, the feedback is positive. The Take It Back movement is mobilizing very, very aggressively. And we are awaiting the state propaganda regarding regarding the actions. You know how the states do. They always want to start their propaganda when it's 3 days to go. They'll soon start, and we are waiting. Our mobilization continues, and nothing stops us. Yeah, I think this is the time to make that call, to make that last-minute call. Let your friends know, your girlfriends, your toasters, your colleagues, your neighbors. This is not the time to be hiding from your neighbor that you are an activist. Some people, they are great activists outside, but in their community, nobody knows them as activists. Some people, they are good organizers, but they don't organize on their street. There is no time to hide, though, because if you're thinking you are being protective in your area, it's a lie. People have seen you on TV, they have seen your berets, they have seen your tweets and your WhatsApp status. They already know what we all stand for. So I want us to go all out. You can mobilize in Kano even though you're not in Kano. It's just for you to call people and connect them. I met some people today that will connect to our Abuja coordinator. About 4 of them. One of them is even a lawyer, and he wants to be part of the action in Abuja. He's on his way to Abuja, and that is it. Even Edo, some are going to Edo. I also connect them. So what we should do is we should try to send the flyers of all the demands and the venues across the country via DM, and social media. Please, WhatsApp DM and social media. Because when the government start their propaganda, they will send it every nook and cranny. They will soon start sending that the GOs now to tell us that prayer is the key. Prayer is the answer. They will soon start sending traditional rulers to beg. They will soon start sending police to beg. Meanwhile, their enablers will be on WhatsApp group telling you that you are a criminal for trying to protest or you want to hijack government with placard. So I think we need to intensify our mobilization. So far, so good. We have confirmed that thousands will come out in Lagos. But as organizers, you don't rely on the numbers that you have confirmed. You keep on mobilizing like you are not even sure 100 people is coming. We as an organizer, even if I have 3,000 buses coming out, until I see you at the barricade, that's when I will count you as a participant. So I want us, some of us, I know some of our comrades will say, oh, these comrades are organizing. No. If they have not called you as a comrade, you should call the organizer like, I'm coming. Like all of us should be organizers. All of us should be mobilizers. Don't just say, oh, me, what I would do is drop money. Me, I will just tweet. Oh, you are not ready. If it's just tweet you want to do about this protest, you are not ready. If it is to just make sure that at least me, I know myself, I will land, that means you have not grown. If you are part of a movement or you know the reason why, you know the reasons for resistance, the importance of resistance rather, you will not leave it, you will not leave mobilization for coordinators and mobilizers. Imagine every one of us vow to bring 5 people to the barricade. Imagine that. Imagine every one of us in this space, we say, I will do minimum of 5. Personally, yeah, I'm sure we all know that. Yeah, some people can mobilize well, some people can. But I am even mobilizing from places that are outside my community. You know, in fact, the major people that are coming to the bar that I'm mobilizing are not even from my area. I'm mobilizing from areas I've stayed before. I'm mobilizing from relatives. I'm mobilizing from friends. I'm mobilizing family. My brother is also mobilizing 18-seater bus. My brother of the same mom. Some people they can't they don't even talk about movement to their family. It's like a taboo. They don't even try to convince, you know. I figured out that some people, when they see that you are serious about this, they will come out. A friend of mine started joining protests in bad governance protests. But since 2018, he has never thought of joining before. But in bad governance, when I reach out to him again, he's like, now I'm coming out. I am no longer afraid. You know, and we have given Nigeria examples over time, over and over again since 2018 as a movement, that you don't have to be afraid. No sacrifice is too much for liberation, you know. So I think we should, even if you are in diaspora, the people that you are sending $10, $20, if they refuse to join protests, don't send them money again. Don't send them money again, except they contribute to your visa and tickets. Do you understand? You don't say because you are in diaspora, you can't mobilize. That means you don't have any social capital when you were in Nigeria. Or maybe you are just a loner who, even if you don't know anybody when you were in Nigeria, there is a way you will post on your status, on your Instagram story, that followers will like, and you DM the people that like it, say, would you like to be part of the protest? If they say yes, connect them to us. Don't leave mobilization for us, please. That is just what I have to say. Madam H.O. is already waiting, and
All
I think
right.
she's in a rush. I will speak more later when necessary.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade Banwu. All right. Let's have you, Madam H.O. Then we'll bring on Dr. Ezelem Agmo of Socialist Labour of Nigeria. So let's have you, Madam H.O.
All right, I have to mute my other meeting to be able to join here. I am Mama H.O. To refresh our memory, I was the one who asked Peter Gregory Obi question during 2022-2023 election that went viral. I am the one that addressed the younger generation of African continent, starting from my country of birth, Nigeria, as my children. Sure, not my pikin, not my biological child, but my political son. Some of you here knows me. We've interacted. Some, you've only heard about me. If you people want a shortcut to what you are looking for, we have to play the Joker's card. The Joker's card is what I have told Chief Tinubu that I will play for him if he refuses to release Nnamdi Kanu in this last election procedure. I've also had this discussion with Shore when me and him met in Worship Media, I think about 2 weeks ago when he just arrived back from US. When I saw his name in wanted list, I sent message to DSS and President Tinubu that I'm seeing my son's name in your wanted list. But I want to let them know that it is not 2018 and 2019 matter when I never enter into the picture. So if he love himself, may they not arrest him. But if they arrest and lock am up, me, I will come and collect my child. And God save them. Not only 30 minutes. But that 30 minutes, they go still pay. Let me go a little back into my introduction. I am the convener of Anti-Mortgage Charity here in US and the convener of Anti-Mortgage Foundation in Nigeria. We are building the structure, so you may not see us out there. But those who know us, like Dr. Chidu Nwayawo, he knows our work. And even Shore, he knows some of our work. Wise man, Adekunle Ajayi, he knows us. Foley, he knows us. And other people in Take It Back movement. Hear me? I would like to have a word with you after this program, either today or tomorrow. I don't want any of my child to go and die in the hand of these monsters. But there is a shortcut to get what you are looking for. I call it a joker's card. When you are playing card, there's what they call last card. Joel will be so busy for me to discuss the last card with him. But he knows what, when I said it in worship media when we met, he said, Mama, don't reveal it. I said, I'm not stupid now. I go tell them, say, I want to collect picky for their hand. See the road when I want pass enter. I've been making efforts for us to discuss it. And I was waiting for this week court wahala. So see, they are proving to me that they are not releasing my pikin. And I've also sent message to Chief Tinubu that it is not only Nnamdi Kanu you will release for me when I play that joker's card. And that brings me to this. Any person, any of my pikin, whether Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, one I want make I release for now. Now go help me compile the list. So that when I play the card and I will be in the air, by the time that card starts rolling, then I go tell them, say, all this one must be met. And I told him that card, it is something that has not been heard in the history of Africa. It has not been heard in the history of Nigeria. But we know they carry gun. If you people are interested, it is easy and it is sweet. You will get what you are looking for. You don't need to occupy desperate. But I'm not going to share it here because there are many Judah Iscariot here. So the people in charge of Take It Back in all the 36 states, including FCT, hear me? After I have talked with you, you will gather them together. We will have a meeting. When we play that card, your government and the international committee, they can't stand it for 72 hours. They can't. And if they don't meet our demand, it continue.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Una go dey gyrate for the place.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Ishu.
Because I get
All right,
another meeting to attend. God bless you all. Hear me? Collect my phone number from Showore or Wiseman, because I'm not putting it in public here, because there are many Judah Iscariot or Foley.
All right.
All right,
All right,
guys.
thank
I'm
you very
leaving
much.
you. I'll be
Sorry,
listening
ma.
behind.
Sorry, ma.
I tell my
Sorry,
other
ma.
mate. I could hear now.
So that due to the busy schedule, due to the wise man is running election, so be very very busy,
I know now.
and
Me, I
Baba
don't
Su
chat
is
so they.
running everywhere.
Me and wise man
Yes,
they
ma. Mama,
chat.
mama.
So leave.
Yes, ma. Mama, if you fish out for my GM, I go appreciate ma.
Which
My
of your
GM.
GM? I be old school. Oh. I
Okay.
know sabi the.
All right.
Okay, I go.
So I'll
All
give
right.
it to
All
you,
right.
but
Thank
just
you
tell
very
me how
much.
to DM me from here. I will do it. Or give me your Facebook. I can reach out there.
All right.
Okay, my
Thank you
Facebook
very
is
much.
Yemi Ademola.
Or you give me
Thank
your
you very
number.
much.
Yemi
Thank you very
Don't
Ademola.
much.
mind.
Thank
Give
you
me your
very much.
number now. Can you give me your
All right.
number?
Thank you very much. Madam, make
Yes,
sure
ma.
you will get along with
Let
you. Uncle Yem, kindly hold on, please. You will find a way to reach Madam H.O., please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam H.O. She
Mama
Maria Media, you can
H.O.
come in now.
Mama
Mama H.O.,
H.O.
thank you.
Not be madam.
All right, Mama H.O., thank you very much. She Maria Media, you can come up. Then we bring on Iziel Lim. I think okay. Let's have you, She Maria Media. She Maria, are you there? I think we lost him, or maybe if you are speaking, your mic is muted. Please unmute your mic so we can hear you, She Maria. And also, I would like to confirm that every other persons can hear me here. Please do well to give me a thumb up, or do well to signify with any emoji for me to confirm everyone can hear me once again. All right, thank you very much. So now, still on our discussion, Fearless in October, uniting to end bad governance in Nigeria. As we all know that the Fearless in October is scheduled to start on Independence Day. That is next week, Tuesday, and preparation has been going on, just like Banwu Olagokun has stated that he was on the street mobilizing today. Likewise, other comrades on the street on Lagos and some other parts of Nigeria. And also we also have the River State mobilizer in Comrade Yemi, who also made it known that a lot of preparation is ongoing on, and a lot of preparation is ongoing, and a lot has been done in preparation for the Fearless in October protest, which is scheduled for next week. So if you are just joining us, remember, the more voices we have in this conversation, the louder our message will be heard. So please do well to share the link to this space with others. And also, if you have questions, you can also do well to share it on the comment section. So let's quickly bring on the next speaker, Dr. Iziel Agbon, who is a member of the Socialist Labour of Nigeria. So still on the topic, uniting and bad governance in Nigeria. Let's have you, Dr. Iziel.
Thank you for having me. On uniting to end bad governance in Nigeria, the last set of struggles in August was had a great impact on the ground, was very successful. The comrades on the ground take it back, and other comrades did an excellent job. Obviously, we need to bring more people out, and that calls for uniting with all kinds of organizations. Some of these organizations, of course, do not have the same ideological orientation or the same point of view or the same socialist endgame as Take It Back. There are three levels on which you can unite if you are having a concrete struggle on the ground. One is the tactical level, then second is the strategic level, and then the third one is the ideological level. In Nigeria, revolutionary forces, they confuse unity on ideological level with all kinds of level. And therefore, it's very hard for you to get a united front because you're always looking for ideological purity, and those who share the same ideological orientation or belief with you as a group. Now, this makes really very difficult being able to react on a national level to the repressive policies of the Nigerian ruling class. And the Nigerian ruling class, of course, is tied to international capital, takes all its policy like we are finding out with the Tinubu regime from the IMF and the World Bank. So the policies that you see of increase in fuel price, an increase in electric tariff, an increase in school fees, an increase in taxation, these are the policies that International Monetary Fund and World Bank have pushed on third world nations. We saw the first round in 1986 during the SAP era. This is really the second round. And Nigerian workers and farmers have been opposing it since the time of Jonathan, when we all struggled to make sure that he reduces the price of energy or fuel in 2011. Since then, we've been fighting this attempt by government to privatize and remove all kind of government control on all kind of pricing of energy. So the thing is that revolutionary forces like Socialist Labour, Take It Back, when you look at our numbers, in a country of 222 million, the best we can do is to act as a catalyst to mobilize more people. This means we have to unite with all kinds of groups, not on the ideological level, because there are groups with different ideology. Some groups we have to organize, we have to unite with on a strategic level. That is, what do I mean by strategic level? There are some groups that believe that, look, the present government, for instance, for trying to implement IMF policies with a very harsh, repressive manner, they need to be fought not only on the level of propaganda, but also on the level of the streets, with people exercising their democratic right to protest peacefully, people exercising all forms of their rights to show that they resist, with strikes by trade union, strikes by students, protests by the people in the informal sector, protests by youth, protests in the rural area. These are methods, and they are legitimate democratic human rights methods of sending messages to a government, irrespective of what the government is. These are strategic forms. There are some organizations, for instance, strategically, they believe that you should sit down with government and go and negotiate in Aso Rock and drink tea. So when you have organizations like that, you say, sorry, we are not going to have unity with you, because for us, we believe in mobilizing the masses. So tactically, it means that you say tactically, we are going to have end hunger, end bad governments 2.0. We're going to have a rally October 1. So we want you to unite with us. Are you for or you are against hunger? If you are against hunger, come out on October 1. So the organization might not agree with all your demands. For instance, you might have 17 demands, and there is an organization that agree with only one. We want to end hunger. Why? Maybe they are Christians, or maybe that's their thing. Some others might just agree with lower fuel price. You say, okay, that's the only one you agree with out of our 17 or 10 demands. Okay, join us on October 1 to protest. You agree with protest is going to be peaceful. Join us to protest, because that's one of our demands. So tactically, they join you on October 1, and that's the end of that. They go their own way. Some organizations might agree that, okay, we agree with your idea that we should have a series of demonstrations. So we are going to have a demonstration on October 1. Then on October 20, we are going to have another demonstration in memory of those who were killed in NSAS. In November, we are going to have a demonstration on November 15 in celebration of one thing, one revolutionary activity or the other. So we can have demonstrations every month for the next 12 months under the End Bad Governance program. There are enough revolutionary days for us to celebrate and to organize around. And then there are some organizations who say, well, we can only demonstrate for one day. We don't have the ability to do it for 7 days. We don't have the resources. People got to eat. Some of these discussions we had in the past with experience, like during the June 12th struggle, we found out that people cannot sit at home for 3 days because people in the informal sector, they have to go out. And their vegetable and their onions and the little things they sell get spoiled because they don't have refrigeration or electricity after 2 or 3 days. So these are tactical level. When we go out there to organize, the comrade who spoke before us had very good idea and very, very good ideas on method of organizing. We have to remember that this thing is protracted. There are comrades that have been knocking on doors and talking to people for the last 50 years, the same old message. And they've not given up, and they are still doing it. It's a long, protracted struggle. We like to bring it to an end with this generation. So apart from going to talk to your friends, luckily we have technology now, so you can call your friends no matter where they are in Nigeria. You can DM them. You can talk to your neighbors, and you take the arguments of the government that says, we are all suffering, let us suffer now for a brighter future. And you tell them, no, there is no brighter future. We all know that. There's no they are buying planes and jets and enjoying themselves. Their family, their sons have become office of the son of the president, office of the wife of the president, that the NAS members of the assembly, they are living high on the hog, while people cannot even eat once a day, and they are destroying the future of the next generation when they themselves grew up on Awolowo's free education and government scholarship. They want to give students loan and increase, privatize university and privatize everything but government. Government, they don't want to privatize because it allows them to loot our own resources. So we get our talking points and we argue with people and we recruit them group by group, one by one, house by house, individual by individual. And it is good that Take It Back is addressing the question of fear, because fear is a method of class dominance. People may agree with you, but there's a high price to pay for exercising your democratic right. But how much democratic right you get depends on what you fight for. So we need to argue with our fellow members of working class and people in the rural area that if you do not exercise your human right, you are going to lose it. And that Nigeria as a country, even under military rule, we exercise our right to demonstrate, and we demonstrated. We exercise our right to speak up. We are Nigerians. We are known to be loud and upfront and to say whatever we think, wherever we are in the world, and we should be able to tell that to the government. Anybody that does not want to listen to the voice of the people have no business running to be president. And if you are president and you start hearing the echo of your own supporters in the walls of Aso Rock, and you think that is the voice of the people, then you are in for a rude awakening. But we need to know that this is a very testing struggle. It's one by one. And not worry too much about the fact that the opposition, the oppositions, they always have their people, their spies that tell them what we are doing. What we are doing is not a secret. We are fighting for our children and for the right of our children to have a good education and to have a better life. There's no secret about it. We also have people who work for the government that tell us what they are planning. So we know what they are planning. They know what we are planning. We knew that Tinubu was going to impose this on us. Way back in 22, socialist labor, we are right in oncoming struggle. And there is no struggle now that we didn't know will come upon our head. But in this class struggle, history is on our side. The wind is on our back. This is a struggle that we win, if not in this generation, in the next generation. We are going to liberate Nigeria, and we are going to unite Africa, and we are going to get rid of the ruling class, because the bourgeoisie in Nigeria have no historical role. 64 years have shown that they are incapable of developing Nigeria as a nation. There is no more, this is what history teaches us. The role of the Nigerian ruling class is that of a renter class. They are not productive. They have nothing to offer us. They belong in the garbage can of history. They have nothing for our children. Amilcar Cabral taught us that irrespective of the ideology in our head, workers and farmers and women and youth, people do not fight for the ideology in the head of comrades. People fight for material things, for better life for their children, for better life for women, better life for youth. So when we are talking to people, they may not speak our Marxist-Leninist language. We might try to break it down to them that the future is going to be blink unless they push back. And they are not going to have electricity unless they push back. There's going to be continuous corruption unless they push back. And the way to push back is to exercise your democratic right to complain by protesting and marching peacefully. These are arguments we are going to have over and over again. So in conclusion, I have to say that we've done a good job of reaching out to youth especially and to students. We should not get too carried away with the leadership. The ruling class have taken control of the leadership of most of our mass organization, whether it's NANS and trade unions and co, but we should go to the secondary leadership and start to talk to them and talk to not just individuals, but organizations, and ask those organizations to join us. In Plateau State, it was the Reverend Father that came out during the last struggle to say, look, for us, we are against hunger. The church is against hunger. So we should learn to deal with organizations that don't share our ideological point, but on certain grounds, they are able to tactically unite with us. These are the things that I will have to contribute to this message, and to congratulate comrades and know that our struggle is very vicious in Nigeria because the ruling class have a lot to gain. They have a lot of material wealth. They are very greedy, and nothing will satisfy them. In fact, they suffer from a disease of greed. They have absolutely no sense of leadership or construction. And I'm talking as a group of people, as a class. Individual members of the ruling class, you may know them, they may be Baba this and Baba that, and they are very good and they give to the poor, and if you give them, you meet them, they hand you a handout. But as a class, they are very backward and negative and have nothing to contribute, and we should get them out of that place. So let me say congratulations to all the comrades. After October 1, maybe we plan for October 2020 because we got to celebrate NSAS, and then think about November and January and February. And no matter what Tinubu and his gang says, they've got to lay just a few months. They've already spent a year, and it's going to be 4 years of struggle. We defeated and pushed back the military to the barracks. So anybody who think that they can impose on us what the military didn't impose on us with guns, that they can do it in a democratic regime by making the ROT into a political police like SAVAK or BOSS in South Africa, they've got a wrong idea. And I don't think they really understand who Nigerians are. Because sometimes when you buy thugs and area boys with money and tell them to attack protesters, and everybody praise you and say our leader because you are sharing money, you tend to think that you're a superstar, and you forget that power lies in the hands of the people. So our job as progressive people is to organize the people and push back and understand this is a journey of thousands of miles, but it's one step at a time, and it is a struggle that we win. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Agbon. Thank you so much for your submission. If you are just joining us, our discussion is Fearless in October, Uniting to End Bad Governance. It is about the October protest to end bad governance in Nigeria, to say no to hunger, to say no to all kinds of neoliberal policies. So please do well if you are just joining us to share the link to this space. And also, if you have questions concerning all that has been said earlier, you can do well to request for the mic, and also you can go to the comment section to drop your questions. You can go to the comment section to drop your questions. Earlier, I think Shem Maria, you raised up your, I think you have something to say the other time. So I don't know what went wrong. So you can have the floor now.
Yeah, actually, I lost the sound, so that was why I was raising my hand. Maybe it's from the platform or my device here. But later I have to switch to listener, and I began to listen back, and the sound was reconnected. So
all right. All right, thank you very much. And in case you have questions, I think, oh, we lost him again. I think we lost, let's see if we can. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Agbon, for all that has been said. And in all that you said, I would like to push this question, to ask you this question before our next speaker comes up. So in all that you said, I would like to ask, in what way, how do you think, in all of this, a lot have been said, and how do you think Nigerians, the Nigerian government will come? So how do you think the people can repress suppression from coming from the Nigerian government?
How do I think what?
I said, how do Nigerians handle suppression coming from the Nigerian government? So we need to let our people know. So, suppression, government suppression.
Oh, okay. Let me say this. In fact, that what were the lessons we learned during the struggle against military rule when there was Decree 2? And the government made a law that you could be held 6 months at the pleasure of the president. And SOS had photocopied this government decree with a blank space. They made thousands of copies and they spread it out. Every Dick, Tom, and Harry that was a security person could just write your name on that piece of paper and get the police to drop you at Kirikiri. Some of our comrades were taken all the way to Nguru, and they were taken to Kwara Namoda prison. And it's terrible. One of the ways you can stop that is to build a political climate in which it is very difficult for you to hold a comrade in absentia. That means that when we are not struggling, we need to use the apparatus and the political space that we have. We have to go to organizations such as NUJ to help us publish whenever a comrade is captured. And I use the word captured because we're in a state of class conflict. And when you go to church and you take a comrade, or you go at 1 o'clock in the morning and take a comrade from his house, that to me is just being captured. Or you hold a comrade's family as hostage, like they used to do under military rule. They hold your brother or your wife until you show up, or invite you and take you hostage. These are colonial methods that were used during the colonial days. They invite you to a talk, and then they hold you prisoners, and they banish you. What they did to the comrades in August was banishment. When you arrest somebody in Kanu and you take them to Abuja to try them, that is like banishment, like they used to do under colonial times. Collective punishment and banishment. The way we can protect ourselves is to work with NBA officially. That means apart from revolutionary comrades, like who are willing to support us pro bono in the court, but we also work with NBA to know that we are going to make political trials. You can't take a political trial and try it within the constraint of Nigerian legalism, because then it takes 5 years like they did to Comrade Shuere, with nothing. Just hold him down for 5 years. This is a political trial. So in future, we are just going to tell the NBA some of these things. We have to make it the trial itself political. Then also we have to go with NUJ and try to get them to build up a campaign so that when they capture our comrades like the Abuja 11 plus, we are able to dominate the political discussion and let people know that this is intolerable and therefore win the argument on the political front, because we do not have the police, we do not have the guns, we do not have the jails, but we control the narrative and the political space in order for them to know. And then we make the government, they don't control internationally and within the country. That is a dictatorial government. You cannot just arrest somebody for 1 month. The law says you need to bring them after 48 hours, and you bring them after 1 month, and the judge says you can keep them on 60 days. Go and use 60 days to find an offense. You know, so the only way we can protect ourselves is 2 ways. Let me be concrete. 1, do not submit yourself to be captured. You got to know it's a struggle. Our comrades have to learn how to take defensive protective action. 1. 2, at least 1 step ahead of the people who are trying to capture you. 2, we have to build the political climate where it is impossible for you to hold a comrade and hold him for 5 years or 30 days or 60 days and just think you can go away without a political price to pay. We need to find ways in which the government are more sensitive. If it is the ability to get loan, whether it's international, whatever is important to them, where we can create a problem for them with respect to the fact that the people, they like to see themselves as law-abiding. We create the political space where they do not use the oppressive and suppressive tool to limit our movement. Because the reason they do that is to send fear to the masses. That's why I guess Take It Back is saying fearless in October, because they figure if we can treat, it can suppress the leaders, then the masses will not follow. I hope I've answered your question.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You've answered my question. So if we look at our time now, we'll see that it is exactly past 8. So I would like to quickly also chip in these last questions and see if other person, if my co-host, I think he already. Okay, I'll bring you on, Uncle Yemi. Kindly hold on. Let me quickly ask this question before we move back to you. Now let's move on to the religious space. You earlier mentioned that a particular pastor came out during the August protest, and people in Nigeria, they believe that the religious leaders have captured the minds of the people. So, what do you think? What do you think about it? How do you think the people can? I don't want to use the word lose their chains, but what do you think? How don't you think the religious leaders they are a problem, like they are kind of holding the people back? And if truly they are holding the people back, what is the way out of it?
Well, let me say this. I think, like I was saying, ideological unity and tactical unity. You have just raised the ideological question. We people on the left might think that religion is the opium of the people. That is on the ideological level. But on the tactical level, I can give you an example during ASU strikes or during the military rule. We actually went to the churches and the mosque set up prayer groups that were praying that the SSS don't catch us. Let them pray. Let them set it out in the spiritual level. There are prayer groups. They came and said, we are going to have prayer groups in your support. Okay, fine. Go and do prayer groups in our support. The Roman Catholic Church came out and said there is too much hunger in Nigeria. If you ask them to come to a demonstration, they will say, we want a prayer rally. We want prayer. The demonstrations have to be peaceful. Well, if the church joins you in the demonstration and it's going to be a peaceful demonstration, or some of the church support you doing peaceful demonstration, then you are going to have more people come out because you say it's peaceful. So on a tactical level, you can go, we are going to have a peaceful demonstration. You are a preacher. Are you willing, or you are a mosque leader, are you willing to join us so that we can have a successful demonstration like the comrade said, when there are millions or thousands, the government is forced to listen so that they can make this hunger go away and not just think they can solve it with palliative. That's all we are asking from you. We don't want you pray and bring all the angels to our rally on that day and join us. So that's on a tactical level. So I think, to answer your question, we should learn how to work with mosques and traditional rulers and traditional religion and churches on a tactical level. If you want to bring Shango to my rally on that day, so be it. We march together. You can bring religion, we march together. Because what we are marching against is against hunger and bad governance. And we want the march to be peaceful. And so when we are talking to the priest, we try not to get into ideological arguments with them or attack them because they are serving religion, they don't believe in liberation theology, and they are serving old-time religion just to keep people cocked up in the afterlife. We focus on the concrete. Your people, they are paying tithe. The less money they have, the less tithe they have to pay for you. People don't have money. The number of tithe you have is going down. Your people are hungry. You are having to feed them. Join us in the rally on October 1, period. Pray on the 30th and join us on the 1st.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Agbon. We have Dr. James speaking to us earlier, so I think he's back. So, Dr. James, can you hear me? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please carry on, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I will try to be brief. Hopefully, I can talk clearly now. I just want to make a few. I thank all the speakers that have spoken before me. I was able to listen to some of the discussion. And I just want to make a few points. This government acts like it is powerful. And in response to the protests, the August protests, they went and have arrested a number of comrades, harassed families, and taken a number of activities to flex their muscle. But there are a number of things that we should keep in mind. This is the weakest Nigerian government that's in history. This particular president, only 1 out of 10 people who could vote voted for him. Less than 10% of Nigerians voted for him. They will talk about on your mandates. This is the weakest mandate that we have seen in Nigerian history. And so to have the weakest mandate and decide that you will impoverish Nigerians, make Nigerians hungrier, make Nigerians jobless, more hungry, deny everything that Nigerians rely on to survive in this country. To have the weakest mandate and decide to go as extreme as possible, implementing IMF policies, implementing World Bank policies, is a huge contradiction. When they are attacking people organizing protests, it is because they have no other means of attacking. A powerful government will ignore people. A powerful government would try to rely on its own propaganda because it has supporters. But this government is currently isolated. Even within the ruling class, it is receiving questions about its policies. So let us always remember that this government is weak. And when they are attacking, when they are going on the attack, it is because this is all they have left. This is a historical pattern you see in countries that are trying to implement this kind of unpopular policies, trying to take away the means of survival of the people. So we should remember that this government is weak. And the way we fight back is by uniting, as the topic of this space says. We have to unite. We have to unite on different grounds. We unite with we try and bring out as many people as possible, convince our neighbors to come out. Because if we don't fight this struggle today, we will suffer the consequences for decades. this president visited China some weeks ago and was arguing with people and trying to convince people that the actions he's taking are necessary to change Nigeria's fortunes. One thing is that there were many countries that consider themselves to be part of the third world in the 50s, 60s. And many of these countries are still struggling today. If you look at the countries that were able to pull their people out of poverty and reverse the effects of colonialism, many of them avoided this exact set of policies that he's implementing. When he says that there's a future benefit to these policies, that if you suffer now, you will benefit in the future, it is a lie. The exact countries that have been able to pull their people out of poverty are the exact countries that avoided this policy. Case an example being China. They avoided this set of policies. These policies are not new. We've seen them in Kenya. We've seen them all over Latin America. We've seen them in the periphery of the world. They are called shock therapy policies. So when they make arguments that these policies will reap benefits tomorrow, it is a lie. And we have to convince people that they must fight now, or their children and their children's children will be suffering the effect of these policies today. Young people like to talk about how the older generations benefited. One of the reasons Nigeria got moved in the direction it moved is because of the SAP policies in the 80s. And this is a continuation of that. So if we don't fight it back now, if we don't stop it now, if people don't come out, we are dooming future generations to this life of poverty, hunger, starvation. If things continue in this direction, wars. Nigerians already travel across the desert, across the ocean, and die to escape the current situation. That is, if we don't stop these governments now, that we are just allowing them to recreate this. And they don't care. They don't care. They only care about themselves and their class. This is all they care about. In the midst of this current suffering that we are seeing, the Nigerian Stock Exchange keeps meeting new heights, keeps hitting record levels. The FAC, the federal allocation, keeps increasing. The money they are sharing amongst themselves keeps increasing. They do not care. So it is up to every Nigerian to stop them. People who can come out should come out. Those who are otherwise engaged, like Comrade Zillian said, if people who are in the church should use the activities of the church to support. You can bring food. If you're in the mosque, you can help with cooking food, bringing food to support people who are on the barricades. But if we don't, if people are afraid, it is that fear that they will use to doom Nigeria perpetually. So we must be ready, people must be ready to struggle against these governments. The last thing I'll say is this man, before he became president, said it doesn't matter how much people protest, he will not change his mind. And some people believe that protest doesn't matter. If protest doesn't matter, they wouldn't have spent the energy trying to round up the leaders, the organizers behind some of these protests. They won't have been begging traditional rulers to come to Aso Rock to appease people, to beg people not to protest. This government is isolated. It is weak. And every single attack against it weakens its ability to execute this anti-people agenda. So protest matters. Strikes matter. All the resistance against these governments, they all matter, and they are very important. They are exactly what is necessary to stop these governments from executing this agenda. And so please encourage everybody you can talk to come out, because this is how you communicate to this government. This is how you show the governments. This protest affects them. It reduces their ability to execute this agenda they have. So please talk to everybody to come out, convince your neighbors. Any arguments they are making, they are all lies, and you can show them the record. This government's policies are dooming Nigerians for decades, for generations. So please argue with them on the basis of these material ideas. The idea that these policies will pay back one day, it is a lie. It is continued misery. And let us all come out as much as possible. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. James, for your Wonderful comments. So let's quickly bring on. We have two more speakers. So let's have Uncle Yemi. It seems to have something to add to what he said earlier. So we'll move on to Comrade Banwo.
Yes.
Until he's done.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Believe you me, I am beginning to learn some new things, and I'm beginning to hear some things that they say no education, no knowledge is a waste. I want to thank everybody here for teaching me some new things. Sincerely speaking, I'm so grateful. Permit me to. I want to make an appeal. Please, just grant me this one. I want to make an appeal. And I'm making the appeal because of what I discovered in our August protest. I discovered that a lot of persons came out from their house as early as 7 a.m. And if you follow my videos on my Twitter page, because I posted all the videos there, we protested till like 6, 7, till like 5, 6. And it got to a point where my protesters started feeling hungry. They were hungry, they were tasty. What happened was, as we were moving on the streets of Port Harcourt, shops were beginning to shut down. Shops were closing so that they will not be looted. So a lot of people got dehydrated. A lot of people felt hungry. So that thing slowed us down a little bit. It slowed us down a little bit. So the next day I discovered it quickly. I was able to get some water. I was able to get some food as my strength could carry. And I noticed it brought back that ginger. It brought back that pressure, and we moved on. So I'm trying to make an appeal. Those of our comrades in diaspora, we know if you are here with us, definitely you'll be part of us. We know that. If there's any way you can support us in any way at all you can, please, we are open to it. Because people live, we know it's a selfless service and nobody's paying anybody for it, and everybody's coming out because everybody's angry. But how are we going to feel if at the end of the day, those coming out to protest are collapsing? They are collapsing because no shop is opened. All the shops are locked. And when we march on the streets, we are shouting, we are singing, we are dancing, we are losing energy. So what I did last time was I had to get a truck. I had to buy water, told my wife to cook, and we were giving out food like that, but it was in a little quantity. So those of us in diaspora, please, it's an appeal, please, if you can support us, if you can support us, water, mineral, bonds, meat pie, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, my colleagues.
All right, thank you, Uncle Yemi, thank you. So let's have Coconut Head, Comrade Banwo Olagokun. Let's have you once again.
Someone asked earlier, am I audible? I want to be sure if I'm
audible. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, someone asked earlier that what is our defense for state repression? We don't have guns, we don't have cutlasses, we don't have bombs. The only defense that you can have is not even spiritual against this regime. It is mobilization. Don't come alone. Don't say, my kids and daughters. That's the most stupid excuse. We all have families. Don't say, my work, you are a mugu. Don't say, I will come late so that some people will be at the front. You are not safe anywhere if anything will happen. It could be when you are coming alone late, that's when they will attack you. Don't say, because of say I'm Okinika, I'm tired, I'm hungry. Yes, I agree with what Comrade Yemi said though. In fact, it reminds me of the police at Lausa. They cut off our water supply. Then we became so thirsty and we got tired. But we have learned now. When I'm going to barricade on Tuesday, I'm going there with water. I will go with water. I will not allow the police to use thirst or hunger to demobilize us. But If we refuse to mobilize and you think that your own is to speak English, or you are a theoretician, socialist, radical who have studied all the revolutions in the world, your own is to teach comrades to become cadre, you are also a mugu, because you have stylishly used intellectual defense to relegate into a class. If you also think your own is to just donate your 5,000 naira, you have played your part, you are a bigger mugu. You want to hide behind financial fence to just say, oh, I've played my part. Call your cousins, call your brothers. Anyone that I even going to ask for Gen 2K, me for Gen 2K, where they support any politician for APC, I don't stop them. People are they give Gen 2K when they come out for protest, I don't tell them, say, guy, go and meet the people that are making you broke. Me, I'm spending my money on radicals alone, on revolutionaries alone. I am not investing on Sidon Look citizen. I am not going to even give you data because you are a Sidon Look citizen. I swear, this thing I'm saying, I'm not joking. Once I know that you are a Sidon Look citizen who is believing what a Daddy Gio is saying, who is having hope and praying that, oh, the future will be bright, or oh, God, like you made it for Isaac in the land of barren, he had a bounty harvest. Let me be rich in the land of poverty. Let me be different. Let your grace follow me. You are a foolish person because you are stingy. You are selfish. You want a God to come and help you alone, so that you will be shining among the rest, and you will say it is the grace. You are mad and you have mental problem too. So all these factors of religious hope, or I will only be a teacher, or I will only be a cash donor. See, I donate my cash. It does not matter if you are donating 10 million naira. Now my money I use go radio station today, TV station today, and I spend thousands of naira to get to that station and come back. In fact, I am so stressed that I lost appetite after making food. So nobody should come and tell us that you want to leave mobilization for us. The only defense we have is crowd. You see, say my voice increased now. The only defense that we have is crowd. So don't be mumuing yourself and be hiding behind you are a theoretician, you will teach, or you are a donor, you will donate, or me, I'm just an influencer. Don't be a mugu and be hiding like say we get double life. If not donation, myself, I feel say I don't mobilize, I go donate 10K. Yes, means I get 10K to donate. You understand? In fact, I feel even get more. I feel even get 100K to donate. So if you are donating, you are not doing as much as the person that is mobilized. Your donation does not override mobilizing. Your theory that you have understood is not enough for revolution. Even theory does not sink into anybody's head if there's no mobilization. Nobody, theory will not, yes, theory is good for guiding practical. But don't say because you want to do just theory, you don't want to be in practical. Some 100,000 naira to do it. Of your money, you know what mobilize. Call people, connect them to mobilizers that you trust. Connect them to people that this guy wants to come, take his number. This is him, this is him. Do that. Let's all make mobilization our work. And October 1st, now public holiday. If you no come for Lagos own, if you come this place online, I will come yab you. Now public holiday, so there's no excuse for anybody to hide behind. Oh, don't come and say, oh, that day you want to be with your family. You are a mugu, you are a liar. That's just what I want to say. Because I know some people are already hiding behind these things I've mentioned. I don't want to repeat myself. Don't hide. Don't use family or money or theory as an excuse not to be on ground. Except you have mental problem. That's just it.
All right. Thank you, Comrade Olagokun. So Shimaria, if we look at our time now, we see that we spent a lot of time here. So I don't know if you have submissions before I bring on the last speaker, or you have questions for those that have spoken earlier. Shimaria Media, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Please, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please
Hello.
carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Thanks to everyone that have all our speakers that have spoken earlier, and I really appreciate that. Mr. Olagokun Banwo, is there any plan for, I think, my mobilization also? Because I noticed during the last protest in August, after like 2 days, the other days there is reducing in numbers of protesters, and we notice that it is due to some people unable to transport themselves to the protest ground, and so they need to stay back. So this one, like now that you are saying everybody mobilize, I think to mobilize, I'm not sure it's an issue, but some people, they can't even give their, those that they want to mobilize, because some people are not here to, they don't want to spend their money on transportation to the protest, and so those that mobilize them or that are giving them
Yeah,
Moria.
comrade.
Those are
I
excuses.
understand what you're saying. Hello.
Yeah.
Let me quickly answer you. You don't need to go too far. In Take It Back movement, yes, for our comrades and people that we are sure that, oh, they are coming, we connect them to coordinators that are in charge of transportation of buses. As it stands, we have confirmed over like 20 buses. But it is from the coordinator that is coming from your area, you will join their bus and come down and you go back with them. But for people who have money and don't want to spend their money, they are stupid. Leave them alone. For people who don't have and want to join, they should go and join. Comrade, hold on. They should go and join their coordinators, or they should contact coordinators. For example, if you are mobilizing 10 people from your area and you want to know if there is a bus you can join, contact me, contact Comrade Scott, contact boss lady, the organizing secretary, or contact the Lagos coordinator, Comrade Scott, or you contact me. You understand? That I will connect you to coordinators that are in charge of buses in each area. But for people who can afford it, we too that are spending money, it's not like we are sitting on millions. So for people that are not ready to put their resources in revolution, are also counter-revolutionary people. When I mean resources, if you cannot put your 5K, 10K into transporting and you have it, you are a counter-revolutionary. Just go and sit down at home and be observing. But for people that are passionate and want to show up, please and please, between the next 24 hours, reach out to coordinators, ask if there is transport provision for your axis. We have tens of buses across Lagos. We have for Papa, we have for Ajeromi, we have for Oro, we have for Ketu, we have for Agege, we have for Yanopaja. We have for almost all the corners of Lagos. We have for Ikorodu, we have for Maryland. We have provision for people coming from Ajah. So we are not joking, we are mobilizing. So if you know somebody coming from one angle, please kindly send his number to us. Let us connect. But for those people who have money and think that revolution is not their portion, they just want to reap the fruit of revolution. Like I said, some people have retrieved into they just want to teach. Some just want to write. Some, they just want to donate their shaking money and cross their leg in the comment section and be saying, yeah, revolution now. Nah, that's not what we want. We want people that can put their dimes, their coins, their sweat, and their time into this. But if we know that, okay, these people don't have, yes, we know that over 200 million Nigerians can't even feed. We know that. So that's normal for people not to have. Yes, but as a member or as a citizen who is even not a member of this thing, just reach out, then we'll connect you to where you will join a bus. You understand? So we have been doing that, and that's why we need more people to keep mobilizing. Anybody that is telling you it's because of transport they cannot come is a liar, especially if the person knows a coordinator. He's a liar. Because you want to come, you should have reached out that I want to come. Where can I get a bus? So anybody that knows that they need a bus or transport to or to where to join bus, they should reach out to us or reach out to the coordinators close to them. We will do the little we can. We know that we can't provide bus for the entire Lagosians or entire people in Makurdi or in Abuja, but the little we can, we will, like we have. And you just direct it to the coordinator that will link you up with the bus. So it's simple as that, comrade. It's very simple.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Olagukun. I will, okay. Let's quickly bring on Etidwe. Then I will also recognize the presence of the co-convener of the Revolution Now movement, that's Baba Aye. So we'll bring you on to give us a final submission. But before then, let's have Etidwe. Etidwe, are you there? Let's have you. Etidwe, are you there? All right. I think Etidwe, if you are speaking, your mic is muted. All right. Let's have Baba Aye. Baba Aye, you can come up. Come with Baba Aye.
Well, thank you very much. First and foremost, my apologies. I've been getting in and out. I've not had good internet connectivity, partly because also I was traveling. First, I be proficient as well, but I would want to say that whilst urging everybody to do more, we should also, the fact that people do less does not necessarily make them counter-revolutionaries. There's something a revolutionary Bertolt Brecht, I think, said about, look, there are people that they would join us and fight for one day, then try, clap for them. There are some that, will do it for 1 week, 1 month, then try even more than those ones. Okay, give them that salute of it. There are those that look, na them food, na them drink, na them sleep. He said these ones are the fundamental, the essential, they are the pillars, but that does not then mean we should dismiss whatever little others do. And besides, it is not we as revolutionaries that will change society. It is the people. Our role is the role of catalyst. And we have seen how the Revolution Now movement played a catalytic role in EndSARS, and also, built on that towards being the bulwark for the last wave of the end governance protest. And we're now going into yet another phase of it. And the fact is, over the past 5-6 years, it's been able to build a critical mass of revolutionary minded young working class people and professionals, and so it's also, it is building on a rich heritage, which goes even beyond that of the Zikis Vanguard and all that. But we're here now, and the question of what is to be done. I would say some of the details of Uto Konta, I agree with him on that. Look, especially since I get the impression that the person asking the question is a take it backer. People should be able to get some of those details. I don't think that we need to go into some details on a space like X. But going forward, what I wanted to stress, is the issue of beyond October 1 and even going up to October 1. The aim, which is to deepen the process of struggle against this state and its neoliberal policies and its repressive measures, cannot be overemphasized. The demands of the movement also are clear, calling for end of, the hunger and the policies informing this, the release of all political prisoners, and so on and so forth. Reversal of fuel subsidy, reversal of electricity tariff, and all that. After October 1, what next? I think we should also be looking at subsequent neighborhood campaigns, including, because we're going to have these waves of, it's either we defeat this system and defeat with regards to this current system, this current government which represents that system, or the matters will get worse to a breaking point of implosion, because we can't continue like this. The question is, would the resolution be a revolutionary one, or one that results in, yam pepper scatter? And this is where we as revolutionaries come in playing that steam engine role to the steam that is unfolding. And in the different neighborhoods, it's not even just only about some national organizations, this and that. There are different community-based organizations. There are branches of trade unions, and these are the people that the branches, the circles of the Take It Back and other organizations that will be on the streets, that should reach out to. We need to build synergy for revolution. We need to build political synergy. We need to weave together the different grassroots forces for revolution from below, for us to have lasting victory, a decisive victory against the forces we are fighting against. Take it back.
Action. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Action.
Action. Thank you so much for all your submission, and I think I will have to draw the curtain at this juncture. So, as we conclude today's thought-provoking discussion, I would like to express the Take It Back movement would like to express its gratitude to the invited guest, Dr. James Ruabo. Thank you for joining us, and Comrade Abdulmajid Yakubu. Thank you for joining us, and also to Dr. Izielem Agbon. Thank you.
Okay, guys, finally. So, um, as I guess the October 1st protest, it will coincide with the Independence Day, which is good. I mean, what's there to celebrate? You and I know. What is there to celebrate? Nothing. Yeah? All Nigeria has to show for over 60 something years of independence is lies after lies after lies, history of lies, suppressed lies, everything swept under the carpet. Nobody is coming out to speak. Anytime they see someone come out to speak the truth, they want to quickly silence that person. You cannot silence a truth forever. It's going to come out at some point. Nigeria has nothing to celebrate after over 60 years of independence. Zero to celebrate, So I'm very glad that the protest is coming up on the 1st, but I'm still not a fan of the announcement. Again, I feel like the element of surprise is always what will work. Not this one that they are announcing protest months ahead of time, giving the government opportunity to prep and scuttle any plans that these people have. Like if you guys remember the last protest, they kept suggesting, or actually not even suggesting, they kept pointing out places that people could protest in and where they could not. Remember in Abuja, they told them to go into something like a stadium to go and protest there. They were guiding the protest, planting people within the protest. It's crazy, So I don't know. I'm really, really rooting for the October 1st. I am hoping and wishing that it is successful. I am hoping that, something great comes out of it. Because Nigeria is overdue for some systemic changes. But whether it's going to take place, it's left to be seen, right? Now here we go do. So I wish Showore well and everyone when to participate. As Nigerians, I would say this is the time to come together. If you are Nigerian and in Nigeria, there's no need condemning and say, oh, protest. Whatever it is, you do your part and leave other people to do their part. Don't make excuses for, oh, well, I didn't come out because of this or that or the other. Because at the end of the day, the protest is happening so that you can have peace, you can live in peace, you can have access to your farm, you can travel whenever you want to travel without your life being at risk. Because as it stands now, even coming out of your house is a threat. Coming out of your house is a threat. You don't know whether when you come out, it is only left to be seen whether you will return. It's crazy. That's how bad it has gotten in Nigeria. That is how bad. So I don't know anybody that'll be making any excuses for not. Because this is the time to come together as a people and join, this protest coming up October 1st. But who am I? If I too talk now, they will say make I come from wherever I dey, make I come join protest. Well, I could shut up my own. To each their own. Everybody go do the one wey go benefit them. Last. Anyway, guys, make I leave una. I have errands to run today, but this is why I started early because I wanted to put some stuff out there and talk about this protest thing because I'm really watching the space for the protest. And if there's any any conversation surrounding the arrangement for the protest, I will definitely bring it here, so we can all hear and learn about it. But guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you all. I will see you on my next one. Bye and enjoy your Saturday.